The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken. Okay, Lawya, can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly, Elder Lawya?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're pretty low here. Look like I'm having technical difficulties. Hit the like button, brothers and sisters, while we get this all together here. Please hit the like button. Hit the like button. All right, Elder Lawya, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Okay, something is going on where your volume is cutting up and down.
Okay.
Brothers and sisters, can y'all hear me? One second here. Yes? Say something, Elder Lawya, while I get this together. Stick with us. Hit the like button. Say something, Lawya.
Right. All right. How's it sounding now?
That's perfect. That's perfect. So it was something on your end?
I didn't adjust anything, so I'm not sure what the issue is here.
Well, absolutely everything is excellent. Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Rawchaa along with Elder Lawya. Just came back from the sticks. Man, do we have a lot of things working in this earth right now, progressing towards the kingdom of heaven. That's going to bless the work, bless this church. Boy, there's a lot going on. I'm going to make a lot of announcements as this year unfolds. But let me make sure you can all hear and see us, and also hit the like button. All right, hit the like button. Right now, we are about to go into the broadcast. That's right, into the broadcast. The rise of political wickedness in high places. But let's start it out. Let's go. Come on, hit the like button. Let's get them in here. Come on. Shalom, shalom. Raising up. See crowds and flaming floors. I've been searching for it. Come on. I see. The chains. Come on. I'm not giving it up. Oh, oh. Looking down on the globe, blood through Rome, I know he can fix this. I see a burner Rome and our people coming home. Can I please get a witness? Witness.
I'm not coming down till I get this. These predictions can't be superstition. The decision being shown in the vision.
I've been searching for it, yeah. I see the stars. Come on. The chase. Oh. That's right. We're not giving it up. Giving up. Oh. We're not giving it up. That's right. We're going to stay in this Bible, bring forth this truth until the saints comes marching in. I'm Elder Rawchaa of the Gathered of Christ Church, here live with our weekly podcast, Blog Talk, Conversation. And that's right, the title for this day, this evening, The Rise of Political Wickedness. The rise of political wickedness, brothers and sisters. There's so much going on in the earth today, so much to unpack. So I thought we would jump right in so that we can segue from here and go directly into the phone calls, into our phone call segment. All right. What do we mean by the rise of political wickedness? Well, first of all, we like to give all praises to the Most High God of Israel. Ahaya is his name, who sent Christ, Yeshua, for the sins of our nation. And through the Holy Spirit, we have received the truth. And we thank the Most High for the holy word, the Bible. Without the Bible, none of us would have been able to connect the dots. Without this Bible. Hence the reason the Bible is the most attacked piece of literature. The most known and respectful to some degree when it comes to literature that have moved through and have actually wavered through and stood through the test of times. Speaking of this Bible, it's been the most attacked word out of all literature. And you know why? This is the book that help all of us connect the dots. Without the book, I would think today that I was a Hamite, a Gentile, a nobody, a nothing, because no other records states exactly what has happened to our people and how we got here, what happened to our forefathers, how we have fallen to such a low state. But it also speaks of an awakening. That's right, a rising, an awakening. And all of you, all of us, is a part of this great prophecy, the awakening of the children of Israel. And as our knowledge heightens, so does the wickedness. The wickedness which have always opposed us. The only difference now is we understand the opposition, which leads us to our broadcast this evening. Please, brothers and sisters, right now we have 700 some odd people in. We're under a black band, so please hit the like button so others will know we're broadcasting, please. All right, help us out. Right, help us out. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Jumping right in. This week in the Hebrew and Bible Academy, we'll be going into Who's Edom. On top of dropping the history and the biblical history on the Edomites, we're going to also go into this Sunday their political systems. That's right. Their so-called democracy or fascism. Fascism and Nazism are the political systems of the hidden man called Esau. And we're going to prove it. Divide and conquer, fascism, and Nazism embodies the spirit of Esau or the Edomites. But the problem lies, that's right, that no one actually understands for sure in the earth who is Edom. Well, we're going to prove that this coming Sunday. All right. And this Sunday, we're going to link Esau to your modern day British family, the Bushes. Oh, that's right. Obama on his mother's side, right? Even the Vikings, the so-called Eastern Europeans who were Vikings. Odin is Edom. The god Odin. The Edomites put their father, that's right. They placed their father in the pantheons of gods after his death. But instead of calling him Edom, they called him Odin. That and more. The political systems of Esau will be revealed this coming Sunday in our Hebrew Bible Academy, week 4. You don't want to miss this. And also you can find Esau within modern day jewelry. And we're going to prove that, not with our sources, okay? Not by my own research, but from their experts. We're going to find that modern day jewelry are connected to the house of Edom. We're going to prove that and more this coming Sunday. Now, let's jump right in. If you're interested, go to historytimes.org. We're still taking enrollments. We're still very early within the first quarter of the academy with over 2 months to go. All right. So you didn't miss anything. If you want to be a part of the academy, well, you missed 3 weeks, but we'll give that to you. You'll have those weeks, including the news and the Hebrew, to catch up for week 4. Get in, go to historytimes.org. Now, Elder Lawya, let me bring in Elder Lawya.
Yes, sir. Shalom, shalom.
All right, I'm sorry about that, Elder Lawya. I had a little some audio issues earlier, but I think I'm fine now. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I know you got your meal with the family out of the way. Let's jump in with it with the biblical meat this evening, okay? Now.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Let's do it, sir. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to cover everything from Kanye West this evening. From Kanye West to local news, transitioning from local so-called news prophetically to international news. And what we're going to actually highlight is the rise of political wickedness. Right? Now, one thing I've always realized, right? Kanye West has always been a quote unquote wild card on either side, with everyone from the believers to the non-believers hoping he would choose a side. Right? So he plays this middle at any time he can be utilized, but I never realized how he could be utilized even unbeknownst to himself by the wicked. Because sometimes you may think you're doing something right and they're still utilizing you, right? You think that you mean well, but in your journey trying to find the right place, they can still use you for the left side. And I'm going to talk about that today. But before I go there, where are we in the Bible? Because let me tell you, folks, what I'm finding out is that what we see politically going on with America and how it's viewed internationally, Lawya, on the outside of our country, that I believe there's an intentional purpose internationally to have America look like it looks, or be portrayed as everything wrong. And I believe that that's a political strategy to make America look weak, right? And one way of making America look weak. It's to promote masculinity in every other country. And do that on the contrary with all the countries who oppose America. Right? Like, give all the men jobs to women. Have your women publicly playing a male sport publicly. Even though it's losing money, no one wants to see it, but the optics on the outside makes America looks weak. At the same time, China has a quota amongst their youth on how many hours they can actually play video games. Right? You can only play video games for 1 or 2 hours a day, and the rest will be put into something more constructive. And China is promoting masculinity. While America is dealing with freedom, pride, do what you want, the rise of woman, the fall of mankind, weak leadership, Russia, China, even the other countries, the other Eastern Europe countries are seeing America as weak. And I'm going to tell you, according to the Bible, this is a strategic move. This is a strategy. A strategy. So that what? So that America would lose its political esteem and respect around the world, which will justify the next move in prophecy, getting her out of the way. Now, the political leaders of America really don't care about this because they are internationally aligned with Rome. As long as America was a useful tool to be utilized to bring forth Satan's agenda, as well as oppressing God's people, doing a great job keeping us asleep, they would fund the superpower. That's right. But when they can no longer use that superpower as their own to actually oppress, destroy, and to keep people in darkness, they break their tool and do what? Pull the plug. And this is the time in prophecy, brothers and sisters, we are now all living. Revelation 17, Elder Lawya. Revelation 17. Right?
Yes, sir.
Hold on. Before you get there, let me pull you up here so they can see you. Where are we in prophecy, brothers and sisters? Well, prophetically, we're living right now within this topic I'm talking about. We're living in the book of Revelation. And I'm going to show you exactly where we are. Why we're living in a country that for the first time in its existence has indicted a president of the United States or an ex-president. Y'all don't know how that looked, the optics on the outside of the country. Now, whether these, and I don't want to use the word, but no pun intended, whether some of these so-called charges are trumped up or whatever the case might be, it doesn't change the optics of how others are viewing. At the same time, you have a president of the United States who, unfortunately, has some cognitive issues. And I'm saying that, I'm using that loosely in respect for him. Okay? Falling up the steps 3 times to get on Air Force One so that the world could laugh. And I don't think he intentionally fell up the steps. He's exactly who they want in place. These are the optics they want. A view from the outside of the country as a what? Vulnerable, weak, and confused nation, which will justify a new world order getting constructed from the outside of it. Which is what? Revelation 17. Hold up, Elder Lawyer. Let me adjust this a little bit before I read it, okay?
Yes, sir.
Revelation 17, and let's start at the first verse, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Revelation chapter 17, verse number 1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
The great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Elder Lawyer. Well, this whore starts off with the Roman Empire, right? But she was able to make what? She was able to make a country out of herself to take the fall for Rome. She used France, Spain, and Great Britain, developed commonwealths all over the earth targeting the children of Israel. But she would sit on many waters. That means she has many tentacles. You'll always find her in everyone else's business, as if she have her business together. As if she has her business together. She'll be sitting on many waters. Right? Read.
Verse 2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
The wine of her fornication. When it says the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, all of the nations are in bed with her. There are accomplices to her sins against the children of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way some of these nations can actually save face in these end times, politically, there must be a justifiable reason to step away in which they can look at America or look at the democracy that of freedom, or this bastion of freedom, and say, listen, that so-called bastion of freedom is immoral, even according to our standards. So all the nations are complicit, but when they see what they are tied to, they're going to begin to back off and say, well, hold up. We were in league with coming against the children of Israel, Esau, your brother. We were in league as long as it financially benefited the stability of our families. But you're doing things we can no longer co-sign. Okay? We're not politically aligned with these other things you're doing. Right? Read the third verse.
Yes, sir. Verse number 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Now it says this woman was a scarlet-colored beast. That's red. Esau, red. The 7 heads represents the 7 hills of Rome. The 10 horns represents the original alliance of countries, European countries like the EU, who were originally aligned with Rome. The 4th verse.
Verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
So at the base or foundation of this particular beast is wickedness, abominations, filthiness, fornication, everything that's anti-God, everything that's anti-Bible. So on the surface, she would present herself as good. On the surface. While inwardly promoting the wickedness she does in dark places, within secret societies, within secret clubs. But what if she now introduced the club or initiate the club, the world, into her club, where she no longer have to do it behind closed doors, because in this cup flows complicity. The more the nations get down with her, the more the nations will begin to do the things she have done in the dark. And when she get enough countries to follow along, they'll open up the door so that all of the citizens of the world can play within their satanic theater. This is where we are today, folks. 5, read it.
Yes, sir. Verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots.
The mother of harlots. Read.
And the abominations of the earth.
Everything. Now, an abomination is what the Bible states abominations are. Lewd acts, lewd sexual perversion. Abominations in the Old Testament, which the Bible say are worthy of death. Perverseness. And then you would promote the perverseness to children while the whole world watch. Six.
Verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yeshua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
So when John saw her, Elder Lawya, he wondered with great admiration. Why is this a mystery? It shouldn't be a mystery to any of us, because it's identified that she, this woman we must look to, killed Christ, killed the disciples, had bounties on those who believed that they were Hebrews, who understood who Esau was. So it shouldn't be a mystery to us, because it's saying this beast had what? This beast was drunken with the blood of the saints. It was the Roman Empire who came in to sack Jerusalem, which led to us running into Africa, fleeing Roman persecution. So it's a mystery to you. But if you know history, it shouldn't be a mystery to identify what? The original beast, Esau, the red Edomite countries who were aligned against us. Now, he wondered with admiration because you should know clearly who the beast is based on the state of the earth. If the earth is promoting wickedness, evil, anti-God, it's anti-Christ, you should know exactly who this beast we're reading is. But it's a mystery to the world, because the world, the majority of people in the earth, Elder Lawya, refuses to read. They refuse to understand and look at history critically and understand that the Bible's view of the history is the Bible's view that connect the dots. So the mystery here is that this is the beast who killed Christ, the disciples, and put the children of Israel on the run, who eventually had a political system that would entrap us. Before what? Before actually exterminating us. They will use the children of Israel like a battery until it's used up and then put them down. The 7th verse, read it, Elder Lawya.
Yes, sir. Verse 7. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and the 10 horns.
Come on.
And the beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition.
So we know this beast was and is not, and it shall go into perdition. Now, it was prophesied, right? It was prophesied out of the word that it would be Satan who would be released from the bottomless pit at the end of Christ's 1,000-year reign. So we know that Satan is the spirit over the empire, over the Pope, over the 7 heads, over the 10 horns. It's Satan's initiative. So it says the beast that was shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. So now it's identifying the beast, what? Spiritual leader, the head of the beast. Read.
Yes, sir. And they that dwell on the earth shall wander, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not, and yet is.
Now check out this beast that was and is not, but yet is. Now, in order to break this prophecy down, we have to go to yet is. So we understand that this yet is during the same time John is receiving the revelation by Christ on the Isle of Patmos. Right? See? Yet is. So now let's view it through John's eyes. Yet is. What empire exiled John to the Isle of Patmos? The Roman Empire. Right? So what does it mean? The beast that was and is not, but yet is. Well, the beast that was is because Rome wasn't an originator. It takes its spiritual beliefs and ideologies from ancient Babylon. So it's the beast that was, but is not. Because Babylon isn't ruling, Rome is, but yet is. See? So it took this. So here it is. Satan took his power from the Babylonians he gave to Nimrod and transitioned it to the Roman Empire, the papacy. When you do the research on the modern day Catholic Church rituals and rites, they parallel exactly with the ancient priesthood of Babylon. So it's the same beast, the beast that was and is not, because no one can recognize that it's operating, but it was operating at the time of John on the Isle of Patmos. Yet is. See? Read on, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse 9. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth.
Rome sits on 7 mountains. Read.
And there are 7 kings.
And there are 7
5
kings.
are fallen.
Read. 5 are fallen.
And one is. And the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue for a short space.
Now, when the Seventh-day Adventists and others taught this, they made you believe it was talking about a man, a king that would come, that was prophesied at a specific date. This is talking about kingdoms. When it says, and the other is not yet come, the empire that have not yet come at the time of John the Revelator was America, who would come out of the 3 of the 5. France, Spain, and Great Britain. See, we're breaking it down for you, because when you see these clips, you'll understand Revelation 17 is where we are before the total fall of Babylon. Because mind you, after this, Revelation 18 says Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils. Come out of her, my people. Well, Revelation 17 sets the narrative for Revelation 18. See? It sets the tone to understand why. Right? Read 12, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
1 hour with the beast is the last jubilee that Europe will have to rule after America have been totally dismantled and destroyed. Rome never meant for America to outshine it. Okay? It was only used as a proxy until they could assume the New World Order to get the whole earth and all governments under Rome's power. And they were able to do this by setting up commonwealths every place the children of Israel resided or fled from Rome. Once they had the commonwealth and can identify every place that the Most High have fled us into, now they don't need America anymore. And now all power goes back to the empire. Hence the reason the Pope is the spiritual leader. And for the first time in a jubilee, you have a king over England. They have assumed their power. They no longer need America. America was the proxy to go out and to help colonize and establish all of this while taking the blame, while Europe and Rome sit back with their arms folded without getting blamed for one single thing. They used America as a proxy. And now they're done with her. And I'm going to prove it. And this is why this is the rise of political wickedness here. Because you would think people in America would say, well, hold up. How can you allow us to be portrayed like this? Have television shows where our children look at and there's perverseness, and they'll sneak in a scene with a man on top of another man without you even knowing it was coming. And they do it in a way in which they'll transition it in there. And then, but there's no pushback from people in America. There's no pushback, not realizing how we're being portrayed. When the other countries on the outside said, how did the FCC ever allow this to happen? We have regulations here on what our children can see. And that's one of many things that they have just that we have just allowed just to fester and just allowed to happen without any resistance. Elder Lawya, let's read 14.
Yes, sir.
Read 13.
Yes, sir. Verse number 13. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
There it is. These have one mind, one world order, one spirit, and shall give their whole heart to Satan. Read.
14. These shall make war with the Lamb.
These shall make war with the Lamb, Christ.
And the Lamb shall overcome them.
We win. We win who are in Christ. Read.
For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
15.
15. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues.
All ethnicities of groups all come together to make a nation. The whore you seen was made out of immigrants and people who traveled over different countries to make one nation. Total confusion, different ideologies, religions, cultures, all in some satanic jambalaya, and you expect the country to operate under one spirit, under a peaceful spirit amongst nations? No, it's a ball of confusion, and that's intentional. A nation divided against itself cannot stand. So why would you make a country out of all different nations, cultures, backgrounds, and all of that that's contrary to one another? Knowing that what? It would eventually do what? Fall. So it's made out of every nation, kindred, and tongues as a form of control, like it was at the Tower of Babel. But they know that they would breed also amongst those nations infighting. While Rome and other nations grow solidarity amongst their own. See, solidarity and power amongst and to self-preserve themselves alive while they make a toxic brew of a nation that they know would fight and fall on itself. 16. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. Verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire.
And this what Rome is doing right now. Shall hate the whore, shall make her desolate and naked, will expose this horde they created as weak. And shall eat her flesh, that means make her bare, so that other nations can smell and see her weakness, knowing that if there's an opportunity to come against her, they have to do it now. And through this legislation and portraying America weak, burn her with fire. War. War. Now, I'm going to tell y'all where this goes, folks. Elder Lawya, I used to wonder, why do they have so many of these disease movies and these so-called virus movies and all this out there and post-apocalyptic? What are they really programming into the Western world psyche concerning the next phase of our society, right?
Right.
Well, it's common sense. When you have a country where it's divided and conquered, and you've already put in the minds of people that in condensed areas, or when it comes to overpopulated areas, that a disease can actually fester, there's nothing for the outside armies like NATO to come out and say, well, this area here is red alert and there's no recovery for the disease in this area. So let's rope it off. Let's chain it off. Let's make sure people can't go in or out so that we can burn the disease before it spread into other areas. So people are looking for a nuclear bomb to fall all at once. But under the disease umbrella, it's very possible that the way people are when it comes to them standing with any program that against those who are not listening, I'm going to tell you right now, they can very easily say, well, in this part of the city, we're quarantining because it's spreading all over the place. And if we don't stop it right here, it's going to spread into the suburbs and get everyone. We need a rendition. We need to just burn it all out before it gets in. Before it totally have an infestation throughout all of the country, and there'll be pockets of fire and rendition helping the people not get the disease. Watch what I'm telling you, folks. The stage have already been set for that, but I digress. The bombs come later. The bombs come after they launch on Iran. They're going to make her naked, expose her, and they're exposing her politically right now. So that what? There's no sympathy on the outside of her once they've politically destroyed her. Now, what would make other countries state, Elder Lawya, we're not complicit with this program that we once were aligned with? We thought you were the bastion of democracy and freedom and goodwill towards men. When the nations are going to start pulling back to claim, we can no longer co-sign with you. Well, it's things like this, Elder Lawya. It's things like this. Rolling Stone magazine. Accused rapist. Accused rapist. Marilyn Manson. We know he's a straight Satanist. He identified with everything, including before there was any such letter people and they put letters to it. He identified with it all. A proclaimed Satanist. Accused rapist Marilyn Manson's working with Kanye West every day on new album. I wondered what was the angle that they would try to tie Israel to as something negative. In using Kanye West lukewarm, going to either side and not making a decision on what God he truly serves. Eventually, they was going to tie this in and say, look, oh, you say you're Israel, huh? You're down with God, huh? They'll have him go out there, Sunday service, speak about the good news of Christ, how he's down with Christ. And then after all Christians and those who believe in him, and even Israelites who was backing him, loosely tie themselves into protecting this man, they'll have him aligned with a known rapist and Satanist. What better way to politically demonize your opposition with the rise of our people realizing we're Israelites coming to the Bible? Now, what this does, this have discredited and have put harm to all Christians who were behind Kanye West. So guess what? You'll never hear me from this day defending Kanye West. Because Christ is greater. And Christ says, listen, you either be hot or cold or you're spewed out. You can't proclaim Christ one day and then make an album in the name of your mother with a self-proclaimed Satanist. I wondered how they was going to use this. The rise of political wickedness. Some people are asking, what control do they have over Kanye? I wish I had an opportunity to actually sit down with Kanye and talk with him. Because it's not about the control they have over him. The fact that he marched to the beat of his own drum. Okay. Very whimsical. You understand? And at any time, he can be hot today, then cold tomorrow. So they have diagnosed him with bipolar. See, but the Bible says what? You cannot waver and be tossed to and fro. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Y'all can call it bipolar, but the Bible states it's what? Instability. I don't believe what Kanye is doing is intentional. I believe they're taking advantage of a weakness. Because he walks to the beat of his own drum. If he wants to, he can be with Christians today and he can hang out with Satanists tomorrow, and he'll get on a program and try to justify it and say Christ sat with sinners and publicans and evildoers. He'll try to justify it. I'm getting in front of it before he even say it, because I know that's the excuse he'll make. I know that's the excuse he'll make. But the whole thing is, Christ wasn't about sitting down with a self-proclaimed Satanist who would bite a chicken off the head while doing rock music. And does this guy look like he's a repentant, reformed Satanist? So I'm done with it. Next, Elder Lawya. This is what the other nations are seeing right now in Elder Lawya. The Satanist temple to hold first conference SatanCon 2022 in Scottsdale. Now, at first, there was this big controversy in Arizona on whether or not the government would allow Satanists to do a public convention in a known place, in a public place of Arizona. There was controversy where the so-called politicians were pushing back. They said because they don't have no ties to Arizona. But then allowed them to do it. Now I'm going to show you the spiritual wickedness of this, because they're seeding this, Elder Lawya. They're seeding this in the media to make an excuse when politicians and others began to come against other people they don't agree with or not making money off, choose to do great big conventions. Knowing that a lot of Christians are leaving these Christian, I would say, revivals that they used to go to, and all these things that used to, that used to make money for the so-called TBN and Christian evangelism and all that. Okay. Messianic, you would have your Messianic Zionist, the part of it also making money. So now they're seeding this, Elder Lawya, for a reason. Now, no one cares about Satanists getting together to do anything. But look at the world coming together for what? Look at on the outside of how other countries is looking at some of the ceremonies America is promoting publicly. The Satanic Temple Satan Con 2022. Right? So no one cares about these guys, because we all know that this is really a political tool to be used to cause provocation within America, which is what used to be a predominantly Christian country. So this is nothing but politics right here. The same way I believe they created the fake KKK and all that garbage as a political proxy to come against us and claim it's a group separate from government attacking black people. When the majority of those in KK, the original KKK, were all the politicians, governors, judges, and the authority which were over those towns of the original KKK. To conceal themselves, they used to put sheets over their head, knowing that they were prominent people. But I digress. But Elder Lawya, you know me. When I go digging, I go digging. Right? I'm like, why are they trying to? Who cares about Satanists at a convention? No one cares about these guys. What are they posturing politically to be able to do? Fair use. Listen to this, Elder Lawya. Listen to this. Now, mind you, folks, I didn't say anything to Elder Lawya about any of this before the broadcast. I get it all together, then I pull them in. Elder Lawya, listen to this and tell me if you can hear this.
Well, you might recognize a group of black separatists that occasionally gathers in Raleigh's Moore Square. That group has ties to a nationally known hate group, and this weekend they will hold their annual Passover celebration at the Raleigh Convention Center. WREL's Joe Fisher is live in downtown Raleigh, and Joe, the gathering is raising some concerns.
Deborah, this group is widely viewed as anti-Semitic and anti-white. The city tells me they expect about 500 members here at the convention center this weekend. Today we found out that the contract for this event was finalized more than 4 months ago, back in November.
Fair use.
The city, along with the mayor, say they just found out.
Now, folks, I need y'all to check this out. Satan is having a convention in Arizona, and not once were they called a hate group. You can proclaim to be a known Satanist. Now, I don't even have to tell you the evil that's attached to the thoughts of Satanists. But no one have labeled these guys a hate group. Now, we know Satanists are behind a lot of things, allegedly. Even in Satanist manifestos, you would have, when you read their literature and all that, child sacrifice and all these other things. They even have rituals with same sex and all these other things, which is part of what some of them do. But not once were they proclaimed on the news, on the local news, as a hate group. Now, why I might not agree with the doctrine of UPK and others, right? I do agree with their right to exercise their right of religion, especially if they aren't harming anyone. But by them doing the Satanist thing first and getting the politicians involved, now that gives them the what? The case law to try to use that as they will with others who may have large gatherings. Let's do it again. Fair use. Fair use.
Well, you might recognize a group of black separatists that occasionally gathers in Raleigh's Moore Square. That group has ties to a nationally known hate group. And this weekend, they will hold their annual Passover celebration at the Raleigh Convention Center.
Now, see, I'm going to have to break it down so y'all can understand what a hit piece looks like. Black separatist. See? And this is why I said a long time ago. When we're dealing in Christ's word, Christ says, go teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Because they're going to use what? They're going to use the pieces that they can utilize that's contrary to Christ's gospel and mission to demonize you. Now they're black separatists. Now, mind you, the KKK have done many conferences. So it starts off loaded. We're only 13 seconds in and they've already begun their demonization. Black separatists. Who's having what? A Passover. So it's not okay for our people to have a Passover unless it's okay with mainstream media.
WRL's Joe Fisher is live in downtown Raleigh. And Joe, the gathering is raising some concerns.
Deborah, this group is widely viewed as anti-Semitic and anti-white. The city tells me they expect about 500 members. Okay,
we're 30 seconds in. Elder Lawya, we're 30 seconds in. Listen, we're only 30 seconds in with this guy. Now, mind you, folks, they're reading from a script. They are reading from a script. While I may not agree with everything that the group teaches, they do have their right under freedom of religion. If the people come together, there's taxpayers going there to actually celebrate a Passover. Shouldn't they have the right without being politically assaulted and demonized by the media? If anything, they're drawing more attention to it that can cause something negative to happen. Because no one would have known that 500 people was actually going there if the news didn't report it. 30 seconds in, Elder Lawya.
Deborah, this group is widely viewed as anti-Semitic and anti-white. The city tells me they expect about 500 members.
And anti-white. Now, mind you, folks, imagine you saying that on the news in racist North Carolina, in a place where it's already a hotbed between those who are on Trump's side during this bogus indictment and people that are on Biden's side. So they're stoking the flames here.
members here at the convention center this weekend. Today we found out that the contract for this event was finalized more than 4 months ago, back in November, but the city, along with the mayor, say they just found out exactly who rented this space.
Elder Lawya, and I'm going to wait for them to tell us at what point that any of these people, the brothers or anyone who booked this event, I need to find out at what point did they commit a crime.
Right.
Folks, we always knew that something was up with these news circulations, these news programs. Where is the crime?
Earlier this week.
Your past is your protection, supposed to be.
On the streets of downtown Raleigh, you'll find members of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, or the ISUPK.
You cannot be free without your oppressor being destroyed.
Now hold up. Listen. The right of free speech and the right to assemble. Right? Now, I don't agree with some of what they're saying. But under the Constitution, they should have the right to say it if it isn't harming anyone. See? So you have to realize when the freedom to communicate is being taken away. Okay? It doesn't matter whether or not I agree with what they're saying, but under the so-called Constitution, they have the right to say it. Now, if they harm someone, and this is probably what they're waiting for, and they're still waiting for it, because really, they've attempted to compare these groups to the KKK, but I've never seen an Israelite hang somebody from a tree and burn a cross in front of their house, or drag someone on the train tracks like Malcolm X's father to have him killed. You try to compare them to the KKK, but I've yet to see them commit any crime that you can connect to this group.
Let me tell y'all something, brothers and sisters.
The group's leader is Commanding General Yohanna, seen in this YouTube video touring the Raleigh Convention Center. It's where the ISUPK will hold its annual Passover celebration on Saturday.
Convention Center, taking it to the next level. Worldwide.
The group is part of the Radical Hebrew Israelites, which the Southern Poverty Law Center identifies as a hate group for its anti-Semitic, anti-white, and anti-LGBT views, and chapters that, quote, perpetuate the anti-Semitic belief that so-called Jews have stolen their identity and birthright.
Oh, man, what a hit piece. And perpetuate the anti-Semitic belief. So now they've framed us identifying as Israelites. If we self-identify, is that anti-Semitic?
Identity and birthright.
They call us a hate group because we turn around and say the white man is the devil for the things that he's done. The word devil just means adversary.
It really is deeply upsetting.
Rabbi Eric Solomon with Beth Meyer Synagogue in Raleigh is disturbed about the city-owned convention center renting space to the ISUPK.
I mean, if this was, God forbid, the KKK or other hate groups that...
There they go. There they go. Using the KKK. Now, that's why I told people years ago that KKK is more so used as a political straw man to attack their true targets. Because you have to find out what people were behind creating the KKK. See? That's a straw man move. So now they're going to loosely tie anyone who believe they're Israelites, or like this group here, that's in particular, I can't speak of everyone, but this group, as if they've done any harm to any other race of people. When KKK was known for killing black people, hanging us from trees. So I need y'all to see how they loosely tying this together. And again, no one have told us where the crime is.
Or more widely known, I can't imagine this would be allowed to happen.
The city says the space was rented by a third party. Writing in a statement, we were not aware of any relationship between TGF Solutions Incorporated and the referenced group, and the event was handled in the same manner as all other bookings. Our expectation is that the group will adhere to all contract terms.
It appears there's some loophole here that needs to be looked at more closely.
Rabbi Solomon says he respects people's First Amendment rights.
No, he don't. That's a lie. He doesn't respect someone's First Amendment rights, talking out of both sides of their face. He said there's a loophole. What? We can't organize, or that group cannot organize with their own brothers and sisters and come together and rent a space they're paying for? What's the loophole? Oh, finally people getting together and coming together and having something where others aren't taking advantage financially off of them. There's a loophole because people aren't supposed to be getting together without you getting a piece, huh?
But feels the city should not make space for hate.
This is not what we need in our city.
And a spokesperson for the city today did say that rentals through a third party here at the convention center is quite common. I did ask the city attorney what kind of discretion the city has in denying events here at this city-owned building. We're still working to get a response. Deborah?
Joe, now that they know who is coming to this event, are they planning more security?
Deborah, good question. I did reach out to the Raleigh Police Department today. We do know this is going to be a very big weekend for the police department.
They don't have to deal with security because part of the contract, the convention center actually pays the sheriff and others to man with extra security at a convention center. But see, this is her speaking to the people like, oh my God, these races are coming in on your city. And we need to make sure there's more security because crime might be up. Okay? This her dog whistling. Alarming people in the community that there's some bad guys coming there.
Dreamville Festival in Dix Park. Now this controversy here at the convention center with the potential for protests outside the convention center. So far, the police department has not yet responded to whether or not they will have increased patrols and whether they are aware of the event, which they sure are now.
They certainly are. Joe Fisher, live in Raleigh. Thanks, Joe. Well, you might recognize the group of black separatists that occasionally gathers in Raleigh's Moore Square. That group has ties to a nationally known hate group. And this week,
Elder Lawya?
Yes, sir.
Your opinion on that?
Yes. I want to start off first by going back to the first article in reference to Ye and tie it in because I think it all really ties in. And I love how you tied all of the articles in and showing the hypocrisy of how on one end they can show people who are of a particular belief, namely Satanists, coming together with no pushback or coming together with no fanfare, no political hit pieces, no news pieces coming out to demonize their gathering. And they were able to do that freely, along with images of the Baphomet and all of that other stuff that was tied into it. And then on the other hand, showing those who identify as Israelites, and regardless of how extreme you may believe their beliefs are or their rhetoric is, them being demonized because of their rhetoric. When these event spaces and them being able to rent an event space, these event spaces, you know, their whole thing is, listen, are you going to pay us? Are you going to live up to the contract? That's pretty much it. Outside of that, there really should be no other expectation when it comes to these events and barring people from being able to hold an event, you know, regardless of what their belief is. But going back to the first article with Ye, again, as you mentioned, he is a wild card. And he's going to always make decisions that leave you kind of scratching your head like, you know, we were with you, but now we don't know, you know, this is a slippery slope here. Where are you going with this? But if you remember, let's go back to when he started identifying openly as a Christian. It was always tied into his political views. His faith was always tied into his political views. And his political view has always been some form of conservatism, standing for America, standing for American values, and things of that nature, and protecting American values. So a part of that is one of America's values has always been freedom of speech, freedom of expression. So that's always been one of the things that he's been pushing for with this tie, this connection between his faith and his political views. Okay? Now I'm going to explain why that's an issue, but I'm just trying to follow the logic of tying all of these different things in that seem erratic, but also when you tie it in, it kind of seems like there's somewhat a method to his madness. And I think the method to his madness is that with trying to protect American values, such as freedom of speech and freedom of expression, he himself has been a victim in the past of people not allowing him or feeling like not being able to express himself freely, say what he wants to say, and being chastised for what he says in a country where it seems as though we're supposed to have freedom of speech. However, when you come out and actually say what it is you believe, you become chastised. So it seems like he's trying to become a bastion or a lighthouse to all of those who within the Americas or within this particular country, who at first sight, you look at him and say, well, this person is off. Why are you identifying with this person? Like at one point, he was connecting with people like Nick Fuentes and others who are considered white supremacists, who normally, if they were to come out and say what they want to say, they would be shot down. Like, why are you identifying with these people? Why are these people given a voice? Why are they given a platform? They're white supremacists. Why even bother with these people? But within, you know, again, with this whole political view that he has of freedom of speech, it's like he's trying to become the, you know, again, the representative of that and trying to bring back this whole idea of American values being protected. So with the whole Marilyn Manson thing, I think there's, you know, that may be the connection with that, why he's connecting with this guy or making music with this guy. Again, initially, why would you even give this guy a platform? Why even connect with Marilyn Manson? What good could come out of that? Maybe in his mind, he's thinking, well, that's the reason why I'm connecting with him, because no one else would openly be willing to give him a voice in this country. So do I agree with it personally? No, I don't necessarily believe that you should go to that extent to prove this particular point, because the reality is, and here's the issue with it. The issue is that this place, that whole idea of freedom of expression and freedom of speech, it was an illusion in the first place. It was okay to have freedom of religion and freedom of expression and freedom of thought, so on and so forth, just as long as you were kind of towing the company line. Now that thoughts and ideas are coming to the top, such as us identifying as Israelites, such as us standing against lifestyles that are anti-God, now we're starting to see freedom of belief, freedom of thought, freedom of expression, freedom of speech. Now we're seeing those things challenged. And now people are being treated as criminals, not for what necessarily they do, but for what they say. And that now brings us to what we saw with that hit piece. Brothers being demonized for what they have said, not for what they've done. Surely they have said many things that are considered offensive, but the question is, what have they done? Have they followed through and actually harmed physically anyone? Have they done anything criminally against anyone outside of just saying words that may hurt people's feelings? And the answer is absolutely not. So the place we're going, as you mentioned, the rise of political wickedness,
yeah.
The rise of political wickedness, the place we're going in this country is a very, very dark place. And it seems like anything that can shine light on that darkness, not by physically harming people who we disagree or who you may disagree with, but just saying that you're wrong for what you stand for. You're wrong for this type of lifestyle. You're wrong for whatever wickedness you may be representing. That slowly but surely, that light is being dimmed. And eventually, man, I can only imagine where this is going to go with how those who speak out against these things are going to be treated, as far as the law goes, and just outright persecution, on a whole nother level in the society. So with that, I'm going to land there. But
Elder Lawya,
it's a very dark place we're going.
hey, Elder Lawya, this is going to be a very grim area we're going. I'm about to go there, and I'm about to show you. Because as I come to this knowledge, as I grow within this knowledge and have the wisdom to understand each day of what this whore that sat on many waters, this view that John had of this whore in Revelation 17:13 really is. I think that we've been downplaying this to some degree, because here's the reality. When it says that she sit on many waters and all nations have drunk the wine of her fornication, which is the Babylonian satanic religion that seems spiritual on the surface, but really it's destructive, it's death, it's evil, it's the pale horse, right? Now, in examining this, here's the greatest lie we've ever been told here in America in specific. We were told, and I'm saying me as a young black man before I understood anything, I was told that this country, one thing this country will always allow is the freedom of religion. That even if people don't agree with it, in this country, as long as you aren't harming anyone, you should have the freedom to worship the God you believe in and trust through.
Right.
And now I'm coming to that realization, Elder Lawya, that was a lie from the pits of hell. The only religion that we are able to actually freely practice are the religions they've delivered to us.
Exactly.
Even a Satanist can practice freely and have more political protection from government than those who believe they're Israelites and are black. Now that's a grim and scary place in of itself. There's no freedom of religion, not for our people. Straight out. If I'm a Christian, I'm accepted. If I'm a Muslim, I'm accepted. If you're an atheist, if you believe nothing, you're accepted. If you are a Satanist, you are accepted. But if a black man or Hispanic man or a North American Indian claims that based on their history and what they figured out that they're Israelites, they become public enemy number one, which tells us that they make the rules up as they go. As they go. When we come to the knowledge, Elder, on how to maneuver through this, they come up with more loopholes and new laws to contradict what they claim is the freedoms we have protected and died for. Let me tell you, folks, even though I know I'm Israel and all that, We have to understand what we are entitled to under certain freedoms. Before immigrants and people came over here from Ireland and came over here from different places to take part of this so-called freedom here in America, I have parents, great-grandparents who fought in the Civil War, who spilled blood for this country. See? So we have a stake. We have a stake with our own blood to at least be protected under some of the religious or some of the freedom our family died for. See? So this is deep in of itself. They've lied. They've never given us freedom of religion, folks. Every time we began to stand on our own and to believe on our own, they see that as a threat and begin to take freedoms away, which tells us, you know what? This Bible has the secret sauce. This Bible in of itself, when we proclaim we were Israelites and we know we're Israel and started realizing who we are, let me tell you, it blew the lid off. It blew the lid off and it uncovered their hypocrisy. It uncovered their hypocrisy. Straight up. The whole deal is, even though I understand they don't play fair, mind you, that's a given. They don't play fair. But all in all, folks, like I said, these people that are going, Elder Lawya, to that Passover, what's incinerating them more so than anything without saying it is that these are black people that used to be Christians who are no longer celebrating Easter. And now, they, at least, even though it's not on the same day that it's supposed to be according to what we know, the fact that they're celebrating Passover instead of Easter is a sign to them. They realize that the Most High is waking up our people, and this is what they really can't stand. That these people that are going to Passover once celebrated Easter, they're no longer under the Babylonian mind control that came with what? Slave religion like modern day Christianity. They're no longer under that. But Elder Lawya, other nations are seeing this. The same Southern Poverty Law Center that Elder Lawya, that they keep quoting from, who have given them the authority to proclaim what is a hate group and what is not?
Right.
Who have given them the authority? And when I go to the Southern Poverty Law Center, Family Research Council, Southern Poverty Law Center, right? Look at this, Elder Lawya. Get it here. Southern Poverty Law Center, donate. Family Research Council. What exactly is this Family Poverty Law Center that they keep citing from? As if this is some bastion of authority that we must trust, that's trusted. Look at this. Extremist group info. Associated extremist profiles. Right? So check out this one group that they are actually going against. The Family Research Council often makes false claims about LGBTQ community based on discredited research and junk science. The intention is to dehumanize LGBTQ people as the organization battles against LGBTQ rights. So here it is, this same so-called this Southern Poverty Law Center that's demonizing certain blacks who claim they're Israelites as some type of terrorists in the country, are also a front of protecting LGBTQ people, and are saying that if you have separate views from that, they can label you an extremist. What's going on here? Okay, what makes the Southern Poverty Law Center reputable? Or is it not just another straw man organization that the media can cite separately as if they independently receive information to go off of? Straw man, straw man, straw man. Many experts are saying that this group can be dangerous. Right? You sent me something, Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me check it. Thank you.
And that's recent. That's March 8th, 2023.
This is March 8th, 2023. Thank you. Let me pull it up. Thank you. Here we go. Southern Poverty Law Center insists Lawya arrest on Cop City terrorism charges was legal observer. Is this what it is?
Right.
So what's
Yes.
the basis of this?
So the basis is that actually one of the lawyers from the SPLC was arrested on domestic terrorism. It goes into the story as you read on. And if you go down the short chart of the others, there were, I think, 22 others charged with domestic terrorism.
So here it is, a Southern Poverty Law Center. People that are part of them are being charged with domestic terrorism?
Yes, sir.
So that in of itself discredits them as an authority to tell us what's a terrorist.
And if you will, just scroll down and look at the individuals who are representatives of the SPLC.
You talking about these characters here?
Yes, sir. Curious bunch, if
you will.
if I might add.
Let me see. These some shady looking characters. Look at these characters. So here's your experts that's going to tell you what you should be looking out for. Amongst so-called Hebrews. Look at these shady characters. Hey, you better not leave your children around these characters. Look at this guy. Maybe this guy on the left is the one who cited the black what they call the black Israelites to be looked out for as domestic terrorists right here. Maybe this character is one of the cats who sent in a few articles. Can't make this up. Lawya, I don't know what we should. I got to go more in this in the academy. That's going to be an interesting piece. But let me tell you, they always cite or quote the Southern Poverty Law Center on the awakening who are Israelites. And I still, you know what I mean? They always cite them as if there's some reputable center that we ought to look to for information. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't know nothing about Southern Poverty Law Center. Our people have a lot of poverty within our communities. And I've never seen them come to help any of our people. Elder Lawya, that leads us to how the rest of the world is viewing Babylon. Let's go to Africa.
A country that has killed so many of our leaders in Africa and other parts of the world.
Let's go to Africa now. Now they want to bring this destructive spirit that we see of totally divided and destroyed America. They want to use that as legislation going into other countries to erode it so that all power goes back to Rome. Now the African leaders are standing up. So Elder Lawya, I hope you can hear this, okay? Fair use. Fair use.
A country that has killed so many of our leaders in Africa and other parts of the world. The killers were Patrice Lumumba. Those who toppled Kwame Nkrumah. Those who killed Nasser. Those who killed Muammar Gaddafi. today are coming to teach us about democracy. If you have no respect for the dignity of...
He said those who have killed leaders of independent democratic countries in Africa are now trying to come to let them know or tell them what they should do according to democracy. Let's listen to it again. Fair use.
A country that has killed so many of our leaders in Africa and other parts of the world, the killers of Patrice Lumumba, those who toppled Kwame Nkrumah, those who killed Nasser, those who killed Muammar Gaddafi, today are coming to teach us about democracy. If you have no respect for the dignity of others, if you have no respect for the sovereignty of other countries, you cannot claim to be a champion of democracy.
Fair use, fair use.
These are the quotes from an impressive speech done by one of my favorite guests, Fred Membe, who is the president of Socialist Party of Zambia. He gave this speech during the International Forum on Democracy, which took place in Beijing, just days before the Summit of Democracies hosted by the United States. A real wide-range, in-depth discussion on democracy took place in Beijing. Over 300 guests from over 100 countries and regions gathered together in Beijing to discuss the diverse forms of democracy, the origin, what's the real good governance, and also slammed the hegemonic narrative on democracy. So Fred, my friend who was on my show before, was invited to this forum, and he gave this very touching, very powerful speech. And during the speech, he really slammed the arrogance by certain countries who murdered, oppressed people in Africa, and now still coming to Africa to lecture those people what is the best democracy, who you should work with. What am I going to do next in this video is I'm going to show you the full speech by Fred. Take a listen with me, and I think you will be impressed as well. And also, I will show you the previous interview I did with Fred, because in that video, he also debunked the so-called death trap narrative by certain countries and governments who created that term to defame the Belt and Road Initiative. I will put the link of that video in the description. Go check it out later. But now, take a listen of the speech done by Fred Membe during the International Forum on Democracy, which took place in Beijing.
Comradely, respected comrades and friends, in a truly fair, free and peaceful world, democracy takes many forms of expression, not only one. I believe democracy is a government in which all the people participate, in which the interests of the people reign supreme, in which their country's sovereignty, their country's honor is at the top. It seems that this month is a month of democracy discourse in the world. At the end of this month,
hit the like button.
There will be a conference in Lusaka, or a summit in Lusaka, Zambia, my country, led by the United States. They have come to Southern Africa to teach us democracy. A country that was opposed to our liberation, a country that supported colonial regimes, the apartheid regime in South Africa, the white racist minority regime in Zimbabwe, now Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, the Portuguese colonial governments in Mozambique, in Angola, in Guinea-Bissau, and Cape Verde. Today is coming to Africa to teach us about democracy. A country that has toppled so many governments in Africa, that has led so many coups in Africa and other parts of the world, A country that has killed so many of our leaders in Africa and other parts of the world. The killers were Patrice Lumumba, those who toppled Kwame Nkrumah, those who killed Nasser, those who killed Muammar Gaddafi, today are coming to teach us about democracy. A country that has been built on brutal force, on enslavement of other human beings.
Now hold up now.
If you're looking for a
Hold up. Go ahead.
On the humiliation of Africans, the exploitation of Africans, the plunder of Africa, today is coming to teach us about democracy.
This was in China.
That's the arrogance, the imperialist arrogance, the racist arrogance that we are subjected to. We cannot have democracy where there is hegemony of the strongest, mightiest imperialist power. We cannot have democracy where a country's resources, a country's decisions are dictated to by another country.
Now I wanted to stop there because he say we can't have a democracy when their lives are dictated to by another country. How can they truly have a democracy if they must compromise their moral standings in order to continue to receive financial aid in their country? America have tied all of these loopholes into the finances to aid Africa in exchange for some of the resources. But now they must compromise their morality in order to continue to receive finances. This is why your leaders are now talking with China over in Africa. America have threatened to cut them off while the whole world watches. Blood diamonds, resources, oils, minerals, all the things that Africa produced and continues to produce. The last people to benefit from any of these resources are our people, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi in Africa. They have been threatened in Africa concerning their resources. I mean, their financial aid that wasn't at one time tied to compromising their morality. Hence the reason Kamala Harris and others went over into Africa. Superpowers are jockeying for position to pick up from where America have dropped the ball.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't believe me, here it is. Fair use.
All right, so this, of course, is the big story that we are tracking on fine print tonight. Uganda is under fire from the international community. Uganda has just recently passed a bill that has essentially taken away most rights from the LGBTQ community. So if you happen to be in Uganda, then you cannot identify yourself to be a gay, lesbian, a trans, or a queer individual. You cannot be in a relationship with another individual who's of the same gender as yours. And you certainly cannot marry if you belong to the LGBTQ community. Uganda has possibly become the most dangerous country to live in or visit for the LGBTQ community. Now, activists are calling the sweeping nature of this law to be extremely concerning. The bill was passed in record time with 389 members voting in favor and just 2 people opposed it. The parliament is supposed to be a representation of Uganda, and it shows the extent to which the lawmakers in Uganda are completely opposed to the...
Now let's make it clear now. I touched on this during Patreon. Check out on Patreon the whole thing if you want to look at it. But what he isn't saying here is that the people of Uganda has spoken. This is a true democracy. The people of Uganda don't want the aggressive portrayal of the letter people in their country. They don't want it financed. They don't want it politicized like it is here in America. It isn't just the leaders of Uganda. It's the people of Uganda. Right? Fair use.
The rights of the LGBTQ people. And there was bound to be a ripple effect. The international community has reacted very sharply, and the United States has also joined in the condemnation. The Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, has said that this law that's been passed by the Ugandan parliament will undermine the fundamental human rights and will also reverse the gains that have been made in the fight against HIV/AIDS.
Now look at that. The fight against HIV/AIDS. So he says these laws are going to get in the way of progress. So there's a lot of financial aid that's attached under healthcare or HIV when it comes to support for a country. Right? So they tie it all in. Well, that money for HIV, you're not going to need that anymore.
The bill is one of the most extreme anti-LGBTQI+ laws in the world. Human rights are universal. No one should be attacked, imprisoned, or killed simply because of who they are or who...
Now, brothers and sisters, I'm going to tell you what this is. I hate to stop it, but I have to break it down. Ugandan president said, we're not here to stop anyone from doing anything they do privately. Because if they're doing it privately, no one knows about it. But we're not going to allow the Western world to come into they say, I'm not going to allow the Western world to come in our country with a lot of money to coax our poor, impoverished into a lifestyle that's against our country's morality. Our people are poor. So if you bring money over here like mercenaries, you may coax them into things they wouldn't do otherwise if they had finances. So we cannot have you paying money to promote a lifestyle, or it's jail time. Whatever you do private, that's on you, but you cannot promote it. It can't be politicized. It can't be on the radio. It can't be on TV. And if it's promoted or that act is done on a minor, then you can get 25 years or to life, depending on how damaging your interaction was. That's what the president of Uganda said. Which means, if someone in Uganda is homosexual and doing things private that no one knows about because it's in their private home, they're under no threat at all. They just can't get married and other things like America has allowed. Now, I'm just quantifying what the president said, which means this is no witch hunt. They're not going out searching for homosexuals to harm. Okay? They say anyone that does something just like straight people is done in the privacy of their home. It's not to be promoted or politicized. We're not going to put any money behind it, and you're not going to see it on our TV, radio. It will not be promoted, and it will not be pushed on children. That's what he said. Fair use.
Whom they love.
Now, the United States says that it is the most extreme anti-LGBTQ law that's been passed in the world.
Now, this woman right here is the press secretary from Haiti. Okay, she's also a proclaimed outed lesbian. All right? She's a lesbian. She's self-proclaimed. All right? Now, none of our people know this woman. She doesn't represent any of us. Sometimes we have to do the research on who raised these people, or who have raised this woman and dressed her up and put it in front of us as a representative. Okay? She doesn't represent our people. Let's make it clear.
World, a very strong statement to, of course, make. But let's in fact show you as to what is happening in America's own backyard. Now, this is Florida, a historically red state, and its governor is this individual that you see on your screens, Ron DeSantis. He is in the running for the 2024 presidential
Fair use.
election, and his numbers are looking pretty good at this moment. Last year, he had brought a plan that many described as Don't Say Gay Bill. He wanted to ban talks around sexual orientation and gender identity in classrooms. Now, this, of course, was for students in kindergarten until the 3rd grade.
So he wanted to ban any discussion or literature of LGBTQ in the United States. This particular politician. Well, none of this at all is even a discussion in Africa, where a politician have to run to stop children from being introduced to understanding gay lifestyles. But in this country, a politician is running on that, saying that if you put me in position, I'll stop our children from learning about these alternative lifestyles. How far have America has fallen? How far have America has fallen? Africa is supposed to be third world, impoverished, and it's supposed to be third world, right? It's supposed to be less than what we can expect from a first world country like America. But look how they hold to their morality and protection of their children. There's something to be said about that.
But in the latest diktat, Florida is also looking to expand its ban. The governor wants to include all students in public schools. Now, if passed, this could have some detrimental challenges ahead if teachers choose to discuss issues of sexual orientation or gender identity outside of the mandated curriculum. They could end up facing some serious disciplinary action, which could even cost them their jobs. The State Board of Education will, of course, vote on this rule on the 19th of April in the United States. So the question is this: we have a message for the United States. The fact is, at a time when LGBTQ rights are under threat in a state like Florida, where Ron DeSantis has essentially been trying to bring in this Don't Say Gay law, it is difficult for the United States to, of course, turn around and to lecture other nations such as Uganda. Now, all of this, of course, is panning out. Many people are staring at a bleak future, especially of the LGBTQ community. Their human rights are at stake. Now, while you might be seeing celebrities take part in pride parades and singers dedicating songs to the community, there is still a long road to equality for members of the LGBTQ community. And
look at this, folks. America. America the Great. But if you go to Africa and type in Uganda, you type in Uganda, and you have what? You have what?
What is your message to Western human rights groups, to President Obama,
respect,
to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people?
Respect African societies and their values. If you don't agree, you just keep quiet. Let's manage our society the way we see. If we are wrong, we shall find out by ourselves. Just
fair use. Now listen to this African leader, fair use.
What is your message to Western human rights groups, to President Obama,
respect,
to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people?
Respect African societies and their values. If you don't agree, you just keep quiet. Let's manage our society the way we see.
If you don't agree, be quiet. You got a whole country in which you can do whatever you want to do in your country. Right? Fair use.
If we are wrong, we shall find out by ourselves.
If we're wrong, we'll find out by ourselves. Our unalienable rights under God to be free and do what? Transfer the fear of God and the love of family as a moral code to what? To our generations to come. If we are wrong, what?
If we are wrong, we shall find out by ourselves. Just the way we don't interfere with yours.
Do you personally dislike homosexuals?
Of course, they are disgusting. What sort of people are they? How can you go? I never knew what they were doing. That's how I've been told recently that what they do is terrible, disgusting. But I was ready to ignore that if there was proof that that's how he's born, abnormal. But now the proof is not there.
Elder Lawya.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you this. The Spirit of the Most High is still residing amongst our people. And it's good to see that Judah, Benjamin, Levi, the children of Israel are standing on that moral code. Knowing that if they allow this to happen in their country, that country will erode to the level of degradation all countries are witnessing on the outside of America.
Right.
He didn't bite his tongue either.
Right.
And because of this, Elder Lawya, they talking about cutting off financial aid for what? For starving children. So if they really cared about the children, they would still keep the aid going. Right?
Right.
Because we want to allow you to have access to our children now and teach against the moral codes and the religious fabric of our country. Because I thought you was going to teach the children to help them understand tolerance. I thought you loved children. You see the hypocrisy, folks? And all in all, I'm going to tell you what this is. Like I show you that African leader speaking in China. Africa will be the last battleground. Because Africa, for the sake of self-preservation, are going to have to find other countries to subsidize in the areas America has pulled back. And America will pull back because all of that money going to Africa is tied to what? The lifestyles that they must actually, that they're pushing from the Western world. They've tied their foreign aid to accepting, well, you have to teach this in your school. We got to have a little bit of this on your radio or TV in order for you to continue to receive money. And it's under the umbrella of helping, under the auspice or umbrella of, well, it's HIV aid. It's aid for those who are getting HIV treatment. See? So really, politically, you have to understand, folks, how they hide their little payolas. Right? We'll continue to pay you if you continue to listen to us. Okay? We have access to the black folks and others who have compromised the morality and the belief of their God in Christ in America. And you in Africa are next. Okay? You are next in Africa. We're going to tear your families apart. We're going to we're going to turn you into total atheists, nihilists. We're going to do exactly what we did in America, and your little daughters will no longer raise their children. That's right. We have to keep them busy. We'll give them a basketball and tell them to come play basketball. But that family stuff like nurturing, being a wife, being feminine, raising the children, woman stuff. Well, no, don't worry about that. We're going to initiate your strong women into the MMA. We're going to see if they can put someone in a full Nelson, okay? The rise of political wickedness while the whole world watches. Okay? That's why it says, Elder, America the Great in Revelation 18 is fallen. It's fallen. It's being torn apart incrementally from the inside. They are demoralizing the people from the inside and have separated the people from God. And now that people are separated from God, families are now totally against one another. Man and woman cannot get along in America. Now, these people have total access to doing what they want to what? To our children while we out there working 8-10 hours to make ends meet. This is the world they've always wanted. And you know what? Maybe the Pontiff's father can bring some levity or understanding to it all, Elder Lawya, before I open up the lines. Maybe the Pope can bring us some biblical perspectives that we can rein all this evil back before Christ returns to judge the world. Let's see the Pope's stance on this.
Ser homosexual no es un delito, es una condición humana. Ser homosexual no es un delito, es una condición.
Being a homosexual is not a crime. It's a human condition, says the Pope.
Condición humana. Somos todos hijos de Dios.
We are all children of God.
Y Dios nos quiere como estamos y con la fuerza que luchamos cada uno.
And God loves us as we are, and for the strength that each one of us has to fight our dignity.
Nuestra dignidad. Ser homosexual no es un delito.
It's not a crime, says the Pope.
No es un delito.
It's not a crime.
Sí, pero es pecado. Primero, distingamos pecado por delito.
So let me give you the distinction first between sin and crime.
Pero también es pecado la falta de caridad con el prójimo. Y vos comandás.
But it's also a sin to lack charity with one another. So what about that? So me not giving you a few dollars when you ask is synonymous to gay love, according to the Pope. And I'm still waiting for him to read out of a Bible. Elder Lawya, that's what the Pope said. Not having charity is a sin too. What you gonna do? So don't wait for any level of scriptural understanding to get this world back under some levels of the fear of God and morality. And guess what? Immorality is now being incentivized by the powers that be. Because this is how you break societies to bring in the New World Order, where the whole world will look at America and say, listen, you're not bringing that mess over here. Hate the whore, burn it with fire, and then all power goes back to the beast for 1 hour, which is the last 7 years before the judgment. Here we go, folks. They've pulled the pin. They pulled the pin out of the grenade, which is America. And it's only a matter of time before the Pope and others just let go. Boom. Elder Lawya, anything before we open up the calls? We're going to drop early tonight.
Yes, sir. Just one last point. As we mentioned earlier, we're going into a grim world in which the immoral will be able to kill the righteous and be justified. And the righteous will only, just by saying something against the immorality, will be condemned. That's the world we're going into, and we're seeing it take place right before our eyes. And with that, I yield.
Amen. Hey, Albert Pike, which is also one of the founding fathers of the KKK. I mean, it could be a coincidence that Albert Pike was Jewish, but he was one of the original guys who came with the construct of the KKK, allegedly, when you do the history on that. Well, he said in his letter to Manzino, right? He said that at the very end, after they have destroyed Christianity or the belief in Christ, they will release the Satanists, the nihilists, and the evildoers against society. That they will incentivize all that's against God to spearhead the total destruction of the world, having the world population seek an answer. And the only answer would be to accept Satan as your God for refuge. That's the plan. That's the plan. And we're here. But if Africa isn't going out like that. And this is why I keep stating the last war is going to be in Africa. Many will die through this war. And then what's going to happen? There's going to be highways in Africa like that earthquake, like that little line, that big crevice in the earth you see in Africa, where people are going to be running on that highway into the wilderness for safety before Christ returns. I'll be breaking down the final world's war, week 12 in the Hebrew Bible Academy. Be there, okay? historytimes.org. All right, Elder Lawya, let's open up the calls. And it's time for our people just to take a side. We don't have to hate or belittle someone or come against anyone. Why? Because everyone out there, if you are a true believer, seek the opportunity to show repentance to those who may be a part of any of that, who may be against the Most High. So we're not stating that anyone should be raped or come against anyone who's victim to sin, who have fallen against God's law. So we should always seek an opportunity to help people who are sick or have been turned for any particular reason against God. But if someone is out there struggling, you have to realize you don't have to be embarrassed. You don't have to worry about whether or not somebody's going to hate you or go against you or make you think you less than. But if you have a place in you that you know is dark and you're seeking help with that, this is what the ministry is for. This is why Christ came. To give that opportunity so you can do what? Weigh your sins in the balance with God's law to make what? A conscious choice. You don't have to stay in sin or darkness. And see, and that's what being a true Israelite in Christ is all about. Not to browbeat people while they're in sin or try to come against them or say that they're wrong. But no, but wholesale, if it's sin against the Bible, how can you push that on other countries? It's one thing if you're struggling with the sin within yourself. It's another thing to weaponize it and make social mercenaries to blow up families. That's when it's evil. When you're using calculated efforts to actually harm a people who's already destitute and to turn their children out so that you can have more play slaves. That's when it's evil and wrong. When you have an intent to harm children. When you have an intent to turn children before they ever got an opportunity to experience life naturally.
Right.
So let's make it clear. We in Christ and according to this Bible, and also me knowing I'm an Israelite, doesn't mean I don't hate anyone. Okay? Even if a person is struggling with that particular sin and all of that. In the Bible, it's a sin. Whether you believe you were born that way, whether you believe that it's natural for you, it's still a sin according to the Bible. And even if you're going through it, whatever the case is, The only thing the Bible is saying is weigh your actions in the balance. Weigh your actions in the balance is what the Bible is saying. Because when the time go by and a little fun time that you have experienced in that space of darkness and you grow older, guess what? There'll be some regret, some darkness there that you may not be able to cope with. That you may not be able to cope with. Right now, people drown their thoughts and drown their worries and the sins they're dealing with alcohol, drugs, or whatever, thinking that it'll go away, but that darkness is still there. But if it's there, understand Christ and the Most High who loves you, who sent Christ, is there to help you through that dark moment. And I want to put that out there. Because so many times when people do see Israelites out speaking and teaching and all these things, they just hear how bad they are and what God is going to do to you. Making people feel bad in their current state. Not realizing at one point, we were all under sin. We were all shaped in iniquity. We've all done things wrong. But the Most High gave us an opportunity to weigh our lives in the balance using God's law. And that's all we are saying to brothers and sisters out there who may be struggling with that. We don't hate you or none of that. None of that. What we're saying is weigh your life in the balance and be honest with it. And the reality is, if you have ever gone through something, the worst thing you can ever realize is that to have a grown person on the outside of you influence your path by what? By compromising your purity before you had an opportunity to grow and understand what life is. See? We should protect the children and protect their innocence until they grow to a point of making a decision, an adult decision on what to do with their lives. So I wanted to put that out there. All right, Elder Lawya, I'm going to open up the calls for 1 second, and then we'll wish you all Godspeed. Elder Lawya, I'm going to call you right back.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please enter your host PIN when finished.
One moment.
Radio. Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you will be able to listen to the show.
Unmuted. Okay. We're going to go down the lines. The rise of political wickedness, and now they are now enforcing this wickedness on the world. Going after Africa, looking to totally turn Africa. And now that I see this, I must look at this whole HIV AIDS thing, this whole campaign a little different now. It seems like everything starts off, in America it started off as a gay thing. And then all of a sudden, the campaign switched to it became a black thing in the inner cities. And then it just all of a sudden jumped over all the people in Europe and became an African problem, where now the subsidies and money that would go into aid Africa was tied to a disease that first started with quote unquote gay people, right? So if the gay people were first, who would be the authority over all of the money and all of the organizations that would come when it comes to doing what? Setting up different programs and all that for that particular disease. It was the people who initially who dealt with that, who was struggling with that, would be set up first to be the authority over it when what? When America and the Western world opened the bank accounts for it. So now I can understand how when our people are pushing back in Africa, they're saying, well, we're going to pull back HIV subsidies. We didn't know that it came with compromising our morality and belief in God when it comes to sexuality. I thought it was because you wanted to help sick people. But so now we need to look at that also, whether or not that HIV/AIDS thing has been politicized as some level of a Trojan horse that can go into these countries to destroy our people. We need to examine that now. 816 area code. 816.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, how are you doing, sister?
I'm blessed by the best, and his name is Ahaya.
Bless you, bless you. The floor is yours.
So, I was just looking at the scripture over in Amos. If you could read Amos 8, verses 11 through 13, please.
Okay, one moment. I'll pull it up on the screen, okay?
Sure.
All right, one moment. Let me add Lawya here. Okay, Lawya, you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. All right, let me pull this up. The sister said she wanted me to read Amos 8. Hold on. Okay, I'm at Amos 8 what, sister?
Verses 11 through 13.
11 through 13. One moment. It reads, Behold, the days come, saith the Most High, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Most High. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Most High, and shall not find it. In that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst. That means of the word and understanding. That they swear by the sin of Samaria, and say, Thy God, O Dan, liveth, and the manner of Beersheba liveth. Even they shall fall and never rise up again. So what's going to happen is the famine of understanding the word, because they're going to attack those who believe in the Bible. And the only thing that will be left are these satanic ancient religions that have always destroyed civilizations and people. So that's right on, sister.
And just to add on to the statement that you made right before the call, you were saying we need to look and examine if it was a Trojan horse sending in the aid. Well, there was a movie out that I saw even before I got into truth. It was called The Constant Gardener. You may want to look at that.
Okay, what's the name of it? Because when y'all be suggesting things, y'all be on it. We have some knowledgeable people up in this church. I mean, I'm talking about some serious researchers. What is the name of it again?
The Constant Gardener.
The Constant Gardener?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now without giving it away, without spoiling it, you can give an overview.
Mm-hmm.
What am I to expect with this?
You are going to see exactly what the question you asked would be answered in that movie. Was it a Trojan horse the whole time? Yeah, in my opinion, I think that it was the Hellion dialect playing itself out.
Well, sister, I almost put that out there rhetorically. when I say it may be a Trojan horse, because you cannot make definitive statements without saying alleged and others when you're on this particular site. But I'll tell you, I'm going to look at this, but wait till what I'm going to show you this Friday concerning the HIV/AIDS campaign and what all of it. I'm talking about what the politicians and others in Africa and all that. Wait till you hear what it was really a lot of money that was being funneled under that campaign that allegedly that was for a lot of different things. And on top of that, allegedly, there was sicknesses that were already going on in the country that had nothing to do with it that were placed under that umbrella, allegedly. So similar to, probably similar to another so-called disease that we hear about sometimes lately. But I digress. The similarities between that campaign and our more, I would say, how can I put this? The campaign that we've just come from up under. Was there similarities between what went down a few years ago as far as how reporting and all that thing happened and what was going on during the time when they used a black man by the name of Magic Johnson, okay, hocus pocus, to introduce black people to something that wasn't a problem at all as far as we concerned, because we grew up about him. Was like, man, this guy, as far as what we know, you get this and you die overnight, right? But then, let me tell you, man, Magic looked stronger than all of us, and he was getting it at a time where we thought it was a death sentence. So we're going to talk about that, the political side of that, and how now they're leveraging against Africa to take those subsidies away under the HIV umbrella if they don't teach alternative lifestyles, or at least allow them to progress naturally in Africa like they allow those in the Western world to freely practice this in front of everybody, including children. But go on, you have the last word.
Yes, my final comment is just, it reminds me of that verse when Christ said in the last days that we would do greater work.
Yeah.
And I can see how the Most High has set this whole thing up for people to be looking for the real children of Israel to lay hands on them, because they can't depend on the foreign aid no more. They won't be able to depend on, Babylon for their food and for their medicine anymore. And so I just think it's time for us to be prepared to step into the role of why we were put here, so that we can bring real deliverance and real healing and the real truth to our people. But it's going to come out of that crisis, because they're going to be seeking answers, and we have it. We got the answer.
Hey, that's what you're here for. That's what we're here for. And I believe that through that, because we're teaching the truth now, you'll see the political hit pieces like we seen earlier with the news claiming a hate group is celebrating Passover, when Israelites haven't harmed anyone in America. Even in these stories that they try to pull out, talking about what happened in some market someplace or in a synagogue someplace where these independent individual people did a crime in those neighborhoods, which are Jewish neighborhoods. Guess what? There's none of these groups who knew any of these people. There's no ties in the media that can show any of these people they talking about came out of any of these groups they claim and hate. So the whole deal is now, because they can no longer ignore the truth concerning what we are proclaiming, because at one point they were ignoring it, right? It was like downplaying it. Oh, they ain't nothing. They can holler in the street as long as we consolidate power. But when our people started listening and coming to the knowledge of the truth and started leaving these conclaves, graves called so-called pagan churches, they started listening and looking. And when the Jesuit orders and all that started losing money with their concerts and all that, with our people getting away from paganism, they say, well, we can no longer ignore this. How do we attack them now? How do we demonize them now? How do we destroy them now? And that's where they are. That's where they are. They're going to try to cut, like I said, even though, sister, I'm going to place you on hold. Even though I know I don't agree with all Israelites' doctrine, I believe according to America, as they state, freedom of religion, I believe that a person should have the right to practice their form of religion under a country that states that every person who lives in America, every citizen, has freedom of religion. So while I may not agree with all Israelites' doctrines, because there were different doctrines during Christ's time, I agree with one's right to practice it according to America's right under the freedom of religion. I don't see nobody coming out and saying that Jewish people cannot do Passover at a convention. I don't see nobody coming out saying Arabs cannot do their Ramadan or whatever they do in their mosque. So why is it you're going to try to come against the Israelite brother who's bringing 500 people to North Carolina? These people are not going to be stealing no more. They know the 10 Commandments. They know to follow Sabbath. A lot of them have turned their lives away from drugs and alcohol and the promotion of total degradation that's pushed through mainstream media entertainment. So now they're going to try to now do what? Make it illegal for these other places to rent to those who claim to be Israelites because they so-called say it something loud on the corner that you may disagree with, when the Constitution affords them the freedoms to do that too, as long as they don't harm anyone. We have to be careful what we allow when these media pieces begin to do hit pieces against a group, because when they do it against one person and it becomes law, guess what? They can do it to anyone. They can do it to a peaceful person if they disagree with that piece, if they disagree with what that peaceful person is doing or saying, which is true. So we can't allow this. The freedom of press wasn't supposed to be utilized to take away freedoms. Lewis has a question. Yes, Lewis.
Hello, brother. Shalom to you. I'm Lewis from South Florida.
Hi, Lewis. The floor is yours. Bless you.
Doing? I have two questions. I'm trying to see which one I want to ask first. Okay, I'll just go with the one that I know that supposedly is coming to America. The first question is, do you see any of the digital currency that's getting ready to take place really going to happen this year? Could you elaborate what you can see in the spirit of this one currency that America's, getting ready to push upon us?
Okay, you have to realize real quick, right? That when a lot of people panic when they see a switch in the financial, construct. They usually panic.
Right.
Initially, there's no need to panic here because they're just putting the groundwork in place for the mark of the beast. What they're doing here is they have brought on board the digital dollar. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean much at all from individuals in America, right, and the Western world, who shop online without using physical currency, who actually send money to others like PayPal, Cash App, and others, Zelle, without dealing with physical money, right? So what this is allowing on the surface initially is to have digital dollars so that they can stop pressing future dollars, which will eventually mean paper money, coins, and all that will slowly be moved out of the system altogether, which will allow them to have more control over every transaction. See?
Right.
So initially, it's nothing to be alarmed about. Just that what you can look for right now is to see less currency circulating in the system. They're going to slowly have digital dollars, and that's what it'll be instead of printed dollars. And then they'll pull the money out of the system, and then for whatever reason, they can now have control. If they feel that what you're doing is extreme or whatever the case is, they can freeze things up and you won't have access because there's no money. You have to comply. Or who knows? Look what happened in Cyprus a few years ago. People had money in the bank account. If they had a certain amount over $100,000, they woke up the next day and half of their money was gone. Just so that the banks can level the books. Because it's digital, you didn't have it on your person. Now it can be taken at any time and you can be easily controlled. Okay? So really what this is this is really one step under Biden. But let me tell you, they're going to try to push everything under Biden. And the reason why is because they can do whatever they want to do without any resistance based on his cognitive state. This is why they wanted him in. Mm-hmm. Okay? So they wanted him in to be able to progress everything so that the people working shadow, allegedly in the back, can do what they want to do without any resistance from someone that will think to oppose them. So this is why you're going to see everything. You're going to see the deals with China, immigration. They're progressing everything. Okay? The change of money into another system because they know that the Republicans are trying to level it off by trying to take the Republicans. Trump is trying to get in to try to take away financial aid from LGBTQ, trying to go after those that was on Epstein's Island, who we know who's complicit with a lot of negative and evil things. So this is that battle on the political scale of why they're trying to keep the Republicans out, because the Republicans is cronyism. They'll set up programs that represent them. And then here it is, the left will be a while before they're getting subsidized. So that's the infighting on the political level. They fighting for the crumbs that are left. But all in all, what I'm telling you here is that there's nothing to be alarmed with right now concerning them transferring to the digital dollar. It's everything we've been talking about. The mark of the beast, where you will not be able to buy or sell unless you now comply to the government. Well, this is one step towards that because the people aren't going to have physical money. This is one step towards proving that everything the Bible said is correct and is going to happen. And that's why I don't understand why these people talking about the Gita, the Book of the Dead, and all this other crap they talking about. And nothing is talking about, a monetary system without any physical money anywhere unless you're reading out of the Word of God, the Bible.
Right.
The prophets foretold this. Our foreparents seen this.
Amen.
All right, but go on.
Right. And my second question is, in scriptures, it tells us that certain sins are what they call the punishment is death.
Yeah.
So when people there's people out there who are lesbian and gay.
Yeah.
Should we even witness to them if they're in that lifestyle? If their punishment is death anyway?
No, of course. You have to realize those punitive or capital punishments, right? You have to realize if you allow these things to go on that you'll no longer have a society, to vanguard, to protect, right? So if you allow witches to go loose and sorcerers to go loose, and it's witchcraft, evil, incest, the destruction of children, and all these things that the Bible say. The Bible stated capital punishment for activity that will that could actually destroy a society. Right?
Right.
That's why you say if a man lie with mankind, he have committed an abomination, he shall surely be put to death. If a man or a woman was caught in the act of adultery, where a man was caught with another man's wife, that was death for both of them. Right? So keep in mind, when it comes to capital punishment, all people have experienced some level of sin. So we have to look at it that Christ covers us under grace to give them an opportunity to change their ways, to come up under the law a new creature. And now you are accountable to the law after you've been cleansed. Right? So yes, every opportunity, if the Most High allow to help someone see Christ, you give that opportunity. But we can't browbeat a person okay, and accuse them and make them feel less than because they're in a state of darkness or sin in the moment. Even if that sin would have been capital punishment in the Old Testament, right? So Christ has given us the grace as an opportunity to change, and he have done the same for everyone else. Okay, he's done the same for everyone else. So yes, they have an opportunity to change too. Because why? The Bible, Christ died. His blood was shed for that opportunity for them. He died so they wouldn't have to. His blood was shed on the heavenly tables, and he spread it for the sins of the world so that they won't have to die. He covers that death in the Old Testament. Now, but if they don't repent and turn from their ways, then it goes to Romans, the first chapter, where it says those who do such things and have pleasure in those who do them are worthy of death. Because now, now they're out there grooming people, they're targeting people, they're pushing something that they know has harmed them spiritually. All right, so that's the difference. Okay.
Appreciate that. Shalom to everybody, and may God continue to bless you in your ministry.
All praises be to the Most High and Yeshua, the water, my brother. Are you in the academy?
No.
Hey.
Not as of yet. Let me
I'll tell you what, your loss. I'm about to go into who's Edom and that how they're connected to fascism and Nazism. They want to point to Nazis and all that when the people who claiming that people should stop Nazis and that we should stop Nazi thinking and all this other stuff are the creators of Nazism. And I'm going to prove it. Thank you.
I can believe it.
All right, my brother. All right, shalom. Historytimes.org. You're missing it. All right, we have Gabriel has a comment.
Hey, Elder Shalom. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm blessed by the best, and his name is Ahaya. How are you doing? Gabarya Allah.
Doing well. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to hear from you. I hope everything's well. I heard you say that you're going to do a teaching on Friday about the whole HIV/AIDS thing in Africa and how they're taking advantage of basically threatening Africans that we're not going to give you aid anymore with, by the way, we're not going to give you the aid from the money that you give us to give back to you, which is what they always do. They recycle it. And then when they do give it back to you, it doesn't go to anybody. It doesn't go to the Africans there. It doesn't go to anybody except for people's pockets or politicians' pockets. But have you heard of Dr. Peter Duesberg, Elder?
You was telling me about him, and I wrote him down, and I'm researching him now. You was telling me about that during Patreon. Yeah.
Yeah, he's literally, it won't take you long. You get to read some of his papers and some of his lectures. He's repeating what you're saying. He's literally, and he basically says how they defunded him and they stopped giving him any grants. He used to be, at one point in the early 90s, he was the #1 grant receiver in America. Nobody received more grants. He could raise more money than anybody to shake a stick at. And then when he started doing his research on AIDS and what he discovered about AIDS, they took away his money. They tried to get him fired, but they couldn't. So literally, if our brothers and sisters get up and fly to California and go to University of California, Berkeley, you can sit in his class. Everything. He's literally all these things. And just one quick point, I'll tell you what he says. He says, based on the laws of an epidemic, that we should see the same percentage of people. If AIDS is caused by what they say it's caused by, everywhere you go in every place in the world, it should be the same percentage of people. It should be a majority percent. It should be women, and then women pass it along because they're the carriers. But in America, it's like 90% men.
Those some interesting statistics.
Oh yeah, go look it up. And then literally, what they would do is they would add a new disease every year.
Hold up. I'm saying, but I have to be very careful on YouTube when it comes to this medical thing.
Okay. Yep. Sorry.
Because you know what I mean. Because unless this is why you notice I allow the experts on the video to make the
Sure,
statements.
sure.
I don't make
Sure.
statements.
So I'll leave it at that. Just take a look at Dr. Peter Duesberg and see what he talks about, because he's a professional. I'm not. And,
But please, what I would like you to do, brother, because I really want to hear about this. I'm going to look him up.
Sure.
Hold on. Let me write your number down, Gabriel. Because what I want to do is have you pick up and give me some insight after I speak with him, so that you can continue what you're saying now on Patreon Friday. And the reason why is because I know people want to hear what you have to say here. Hold on. Because I'm going to tell you, it's like everything, it seemed like it comes out of nowhere. We have nothing to do with it. And all of a sudden, at the end of it, we're disproportionately affected by whatever disease they come out with. First, HIV was gay people. And then they say, well, yeah, the black people everywhere is dying of AIDS. Right? After showing, and see, I can speak on this is because I was a young man when the whole community was totally shocked at Magic Johnson getting up saying he had AIDS, HIV. He said the disease is called AIDS. So I was a young man when this happened. So I remember this expressly. And there was no one in our neighborhood concerned about any of this stuff. And then it became and then the same thing. Even when the Roni Roan came a couple of years ago. It came out of Wuhan, China, and now they're saying everybody in North Philly could be affected more than anyone else in Pennsylvania. I'm like, well, hold up here. These are some serious coincidences here. That it starts off one way, then we become the face of it to get it funded, and then the money goes to everyone else, and our people end up getting attacked under this so-called quasi whatever it is. And I think that we need to examine the political side of this stuff, more so to understand whether or not we're indirectly being attacked. Indirectly.
Well, yeah. I mean, my wife is she's Judah. She's from Congo.
Okay.
And she always says, she says, I just don't know what it is about my country that these people are so focused on. She said, I just don't get it. So she says they always talk about AIDS. And one of the governors, you probably saw it on YouTube before, where he said, well, you guys keep telling us that we're dying of AIDS. And he says, where are the bodies?
Whoa! Yes. We're gonna deal with the numbers game this coming Friday, so let it go.
Sure.
Because
I'll let that go.
Because you about to bait me into something that's gonna put this channel on.
I don't want
to put this channel on timeout, and I'm sure you want to see me here on YouTube next week, so I'm gonna leave that there.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, let me leave that alone.
All right, goodbye, y'all.
But yeah, that's basically it. That's basically it. The last part is just the whole misdirection, the political attack on our people.
Yeah.
Over in Africa, and they're utilizing this as they always do to basically scare Africans and say, well, we're going to sanction you. We're not going to give you any money. Oh, but by the way, we know you have to find a way to get that oil and that gold and that copper and that coltan out. So we're going to send our emissaries over there to smuggle it out, take half the money, and then give you dollars so you can still work with it.
Well, brother, can you do me a favor? Try to reach out to Berkeley, Peter Duesberg, and see if he can come on as a guest. And just let him know he'll come on to speak for like 15, 20 minutes to a church, international church. And also, he's speaking to not just the world community, but the black communities somewhat in particular. And to let us know in the community, in the black community, Africa and other, what is it that we didn't know about these campaigns that we should know? And just to let him, and I'll leave it there. I don't want to frame him into, attacking anyone or accusing anyone. Just from his professional perspective, what is it based on his view of all these campaigns, AIDS, the coronavirus, whatever it is? What perspective that he viewed from his professional viewpoint that he think we should understand? All right, so
I'll do that.
Ask him, call him.
Send Elder Lawya some links.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to find some links myself. You can send Elder Lawyer, but see if you can reach out to him and see if he'll become an expert guest on one of our programs. And we'll be neutral. We're here. We're here just to hear his expert advice on it. All right.
I'll do that. I'll do that, brother.
All right. Thank you, my brother. Bless you.
Thank you. Cheers. Shalom.
Shalom. Man, very knowledgeable brothers and sisters. I see you there. I see you there, Sunshine. I'll grab you in a moment. What that? I think it's Glenda. Glenda has a question.
Hello? Hello?
Hello. How are you doing, Glenda?
Shalom. Shalom. I can't say the word.
Shalom. Just say shalom. Shalom is good enough. That's good.
Shalom.
How are you?
Yes, I have a crystal. I want to get prayed over.
Okay. And your name is Glenda. What's wrong with you, Glenda?
Well, I started out smoking. I was smoking cigarettes. But I was smoking for a day. But then as I said I was going to stop, it got worse.
What's wrong with you, though? What have you been diagnosed with?
Diagnosed with?
Yeah.
I ain't diagnosed with nothing.
Okay.
That I know of.
So you just need a prayer that the Most High can help you get over the addiction to the cigarettes and also heal whatever damage that could have been done through the habit, right?
Yeah, because I've been smoking for a while, but I wasn't smoking that much bad, so I was trying to stop. It just got worse. Like there's something inside that's taking over.
Yeah, it's
so
a
I
spirit.
feel like I need a prayer.
Okay.
Yeah.
What city and state you live in, Glenda?
Chattanooga, Tennessee. I was trying to see if y'all have a church this way.
Okay. We do have a church near Tennessee. I'm going to give your number to Lawya. He's going to reach you. We're going to make sure a prayer get done for you and make sure that you can connect with the body, okay?
All right, I appreciate that.
All right, bless you. I'll make sure Lawya get this. And on top of this, just so that we're attacking this from both angles, make sure you send an email to GOCC South. GOCC South. GOCC South.
Let me get a pen and paper. Let me get a pen and paper.
Okay. Elder Lawya, that's GOCC South at yahoo.com, right?
Yes, sir.
Hold up.
All right.
I got it. Hold up. Let me write it down. Oh. GOCC South.
South, that's SOUTH at yahoo.com.
At who?
Yahoo. YAHOO. Yahoo, which is really Judah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They did it another way.
Okay,
Yahoo,
I got that down.
Judah. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bless you.
Mm-hmm. Bless you too now.
All right, bless you. All right, going down the line. Maka y'all. I'd like to say next week we will premiere the video. Bye bye. Bye bye will be premiered next week as we spearhead. That's right, Music with the Purpose Part 2. Many have been demanding when will the next project will be done. When would the next project be done? Well, we're going to bring out the single first that can be downloaded. Bye bye. Next week premiere before we actually spearhead the full project. All right. Okay, we have Micah. Y'all has a question. Shalom.
Shalom, Elder. Shalom, Elder.
Shalom. How are you?
Tribe of Asher, New York body.
Bless you.
Outstanding. Thank you. Blessing likewise. Double honors and blessings to you, Elder. I just have two quick questions that tie in with the lesson and also with the wilderness.
Yes.
If I may. The first one being Africa's position and their opposition to everything that's going on regarding the LGBTQ movement. Will this create a hedge for them when you're in those days, and then that will be the wilderness for us, or is the wilderness going to be like on a whole different plains? That the highways are going to lead us to.
Okay, you have to realize they're just using this right now as a political proxy. right? Really, the real story isn't about LGBTQ more so than it is that Africa is negotiating with other countries. Now that America has become compromised, their dollar will be devalued. And on top of that, when Africa began to disconnect themselves, the finances and all that is going to affect America's political position on the earth. So what they're using this so-called LGBTQ Uganda thing as a proxy to attack Africa politically. Like when the guy stated, we're watching this bill closely on how they do this, on whether or not to continue to support financial aid to Uganda. Now, when they're making statements like that, you would think Africa was enriching uranium, making nuclear bombs. That's some of the verbiage I heard during the time they were looking to go against Saddam Hussein. We're going to watch them carefully. So really what this is a political reason to cut them off and to begin to wage frontal wars against certain countries who oppose America's advances. Now, eventually, it's going to lead to what? It could lead to them funding groups that would come in from other places claiming to be rebel scenarios that can cause what they would claim a civil war. Almost like a black Al-Qaeda or ISIS type of deal to actually promote to us that it's infighting when really it's bringing people in from other countries and others as mercenaries to tear the country down. That would lead to what? Destabilizing Africa. And as a pretext, they're going to have to go into other areas outside of their villages. This is how eventually people will be funneled into the wilderness, the same place our people were during the time Moses gave us the law. Okay?
I understand. Totally.
Yeah.
My second question is, I know that before the Exodus,
the
Most High had Moses, basically communicate to the people that they should loot Egypt before leaving. Will that be kind of like the same scenario for us, or will everything be provided, so to speak, logistically once we're like on those highways?
Well, you have to realize the Most High told Moses, borrow from the Egyptians, right? He said, borrow from the Egyptians.
Word I should have used that.
Yeah, because you have to realize it was the Egyptians who became rich off of Joseph and our forefathers there, who were the politicians at that time, who set up a way to preserve the earth, the Mesopotamian area, through a 7-year famine. So that's how they was able to consolidate power. It was because of our ingenuity and understanding. The same America become great because of us. Before they started opening the borders to immigrants and all that, we built the foundation of this country. So now, anyone who knows what's really going on in America, on the political side and otherwise, understand that there's a fire sale going on right now. Right? There's money to be had and grants and all these things for those who know how to get access to them. And that's what's going on with a lot of these groups like the LGBTQ and others. They're filthy rich because they know there's minority money that belongs to us that no one is telling us about. It's a fire sale. So it's upon our people to understand what's out there for our people, get access to it while there's opportunity. Right? So that's where our people need to be when it comes to that side of the scripture. Okay? People don't have to do nothing illegal. They're not to try to pillage something or nothing. No. There's money out there, but people aren't telling us how to get access to it. And they're using our plight, our condition, so that other people can elbow us out of them. They use us as a political reason, like George Floyd and others. And then once they say, okay, here's the money, they elbow us out of the way. And next thing you know, they got all these other people who have nothing to do with us getting access to it. So the reality is, it's time for our people to become more fiscally sound and understand politically how things work, to know that there's money out there that's readily available for us if we're willing to go get it. The other thing is, the majority of us look to go to college and get in debt and get grants that way, instead of understanding the grants that are already there for our families, for our community. So what I hope to do, right, especially in these next couple of months with a lot of planning and things we're doing, interacting with others and talk about what's really going on with the displacement of our people, is to give our brothers and sisters outright on our platforms and other conversations information that can benefit them, right? Like, did you know that there was grants for our people right here for housing that the only reason LGBTQ and others are getting it is because they ain't telling us that money that money exists. And we let that money just sit there, right. And now immigrants are now flooding in and grabbing that money under the guise of minority black and brown people. So it's a fire sale right now. But our people are the last to understand where to go to get what belongs to them. And this is where the conversation comes in, where those who understand and see what's happening tell our people and inform our people, listen, we can't depend on them wholesale because they've always deceived us. But if there is something out there, this is how to get it. And make sure you get it legally under the laws of God if it's out there for you. Okay? So I'm going to be having conversations on that. And, and that leads to also the reparations conversation, which they're actually playing with our people with that. Because there is no studies and other things the Japanese had to do to get reparations for being in internment camps. There was no study or round table discussion of experts to discuss money going to those who were Holocaust survivors. So anytime they say, well, we're discussing reparations, we may do this and may do that, they're just playing with our people. Because if you harmed our people who built the country, there shouldn't be a discussion. Okay? Okay? There shouldn't be a discussion.
The one.
Because there's no discussion for everyone else.
The edification of it.
All right. So, all right. All right. Thank you, my brother.
Why, Elder? Also, I know you're really busy, but if it'd be possible whenever you get a chance for a callback regarding just some works, specifically, for the body that I'd like to do if somebody or somebody's isn't already appointed to certain positions or
okay. What type of what type of works you talking about?
Well, I was interested to see if I have a subscription with Dr. Truman. So I was wondering if, we have logistically any plans in place for someone to assume that kind of role or a group of people to assume that kind of role into learning the different
herbs and all that,
plants and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So, I don't know if he has like an apprenticeship or if he has,
I don't,
if he's willing to take on students for the body to learn.
Well, I don't know because what Dr. Truman does is independent from our church. Okay, it's what he does. He's an expert at it. Even though, I've always leaned on him to help me and my family and others in the church. You have to realize, but his practice and what he does is a totally separate ministry. But what I can do is I can call him and have him reach you and see if he would open up some apprenticeship for you. All right, so I can arrange that conversation you can have with him. All right. All right, bless you.
It.
You're welcome. Shalom.
Bless you as well.
Shalom.
Shalom.
And another thing, I'm going to be making we're making an announcement this weekend that if there's people who are in the church, have licenses for contracting work and building and things of that nature, and that's in your wheelhouse. We're asking for some volunteers for some big projects that are coming up that's going to benefit the people. All right. So you can volunteer your time, electricians, carpenters, sheetrock, whatever you do. If you're a part of the church, you're going to hear about this because we have a lot of projects coming down the pipeline that's going to need hands-on. So I'm going to put that out there now. You're going to be hearing that this Friday. We have a lot of projects that's coming that's going to benefit the people. All right. So if you have these particular types of licenses and expertise, If you can donate some time for us, we would really appreciate that. Now, and you'll hear more about that in weeks to come. All right. Let's see. Who that? Jermaine has a question. Yes, Jermaine.
Shalom, Elder. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing good. First, I just wanted to say thank you because I appreciate everything that you've done. I've been following you guys since the summer. This is my second Bible Academy, and it's completely changed my life and my view.
Thank you.
It's just amazing. So I'm from Massachusetts, but I wanted to know if you had like a church here or close by that I could attend.
Absolutely, we have a church there.
I also wanted to get baptized.
All right, definitely, Jermaine. Hold on, You in Boston, right?
Yes, I'm close to Boston.
Okay, how old are you?
37.
37. Family?
No.
Okay. All right. All right. So baptism. I'll make sure I connect this with the leader there over in Boston to give you a call and get in the body, brother. There's a lot of work we can do. So I really appreciate you reaching out and becoming a part of the academy. And there's greater works you're going to do here. So thank you. All right.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Bless you.
Thanks.
All right. We have is that who? Azalea. Hold up. Is this Azalea Banks? Let's find out.
No, it's not Azalea Banks.
Okay, I thought I was going to say, sister, we're here to help you out. I'm glad you on the line. We're going to tell you to get rid of those chickens.
Okay.
Those chickens in that little closet you got over there. Azalea, get your life together. Christ loves you.
Oh, Lord.
But go on. How you doing, Azalea? Let's do it. Talk to me.
I'm doing well, Elder. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. My question is, what can you share with us regarding the second Exodus, and does it have anything to do with us going into the wilderness? Is it connected to us going into the wilderness?
Well, you have to realize when you say second Exodus, this Exodus is going to be different than Egypt, because it's not going to be a wholesale one night deal, leaving all together, right, after Passover, like it was coming out of Egypt, right?
Okay.
So this is going to be more so us actually. Let me read this. I can make it easier for you. So you're talking about you're talking about this happening almost in increments of time, because in different parts of time lead into us being in the wilderness together. Why? If there was one Exodus altogether that they can point to, they would be able to get rid of God's people altogether at one time. Right?
Right. That makes so much sense.
Yeah. So the Most High is going to do it in a way in which we can safely get there between now and the time they cut off all travel. And that goes into the book of Daniel, where it says, blessed are those that make it to that certain year, which is the fourth year, past that 3.5 years. Right? Let me read this.
Okay.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Let me read this real quick in a nutshell. And I'll be going into this also this year, all through this year. I'm going to have to, and in the academy. But I'm really going to be highlighting that. It says Jeremiah 23:7. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. See, that was one Exodus. But the Lord liveth, which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all countries whither I had driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. See? So this is not just a singular exodus like it was coming out of Egypt. This is an exodus from all the places we have been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth for a time to serve these nations. The great part about it is the servitude spirit is coming off of us, and it's leaving us, and it's going on those who once opposed our God and enslaved us. So right now, that's where we are through that transition. So as we're led through the Holy Spirit and churches are developed, circumstances will develop that will allow us to slowly but surely get to where we need to be without it being a wholesale recognizing by all the governments of some exodus somewhere. And eventually we'll all be in those same areas that we read of in Isaiah the 11th chapter. Read that. You'll see in Isaiah 11 the countries eventually where we'll be actually led from out of at the very end. But circumstance and our own travel going to get us in proximity, and some is going to leave at the last moment. But it's not going to be a thing where it was like Moses standing up and everyone is following you into an exodus. It's not going to be that way. The Holy Spirit is going to guide us through the heavens into these areas incrementally. Okay?
Okay, all praises. Thank you, Elder, to answer my question. What scriptures did you read again?
I'm at Jeremiah 23, 7 and 8. And make sure you read Isaiah the 11th chapter.
Okay.
And whatever
Thank you so much, Elder.
whatever you do, I'm
Yes,
going to
sir.
tell you this right now, sister. Do not go into Israel, the borders within Israel, and do not go into Jordan. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, can I ask what the reason
Of
why we shouldn't go into those?
Because a fire is coming in the war.
Okay.
All right. The only time we're supposed to go into those countries is when we're led by our king, after the fire purges that area.
Okay.
Okay. There will be a war in the Middle East. And what's going to happen, and I see it now, and I spoke about this in the academy, it says that the kings would flee into Kittim, which is Cyprus. Well, they have already started going into Cyprus in preparation for the sacrifice that will happen in the Middle East. And that's the war. The sacrifice will be when the fires hit in the Middle East, 6 million are going to go. You don't want to be in that area when it happens. The word Holocaust, when you look at it in the Hebrew, translate to what word? Sacrifice. A burnt sacrifice. That's the word Holocaust when you look at the Hebrew. So we've been hearing that number. But a lot of people don't know that what's the prophetic part of that number, 6 million. That whole land must be purged before Christ returns, because Christ's going to bring that land back from the desolation. The desolation is the fire that's coming there. So it's not time to repatriate back to Israel. A judgment is coming all through there. Even the leaders of Israel aren't going to be there when the war hits. They're going to be in Cyprus. Okay? So right now in the Middle East, they're preparing everyone over in that land for a sacrifice. All right? And all power, like I just broke down, will go back to Rome. You have to realize a lot of these places that extends from Europe, including what we see in Israel, are colonies that were established out of Rome and America, used as proxies for Rome. So right now we're looking at a priesthood over there that will lead to a serious sacrifice in the next war. Do not go in. Look at Isaiah 11 chapter. Do not go into Israel, and because in that war you will not be able to escape it. And do not go into parts of Jordan. Okay? All
Okay.
right.
Thank you, Elder. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. 214 area code.
Hi, Shalom, Elder.
Shalom.
This is Emia.
How are you?
Yes, I'm finding you.
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
Yes, sir. I just had a question about crystals because you had said something about that was which works, I guess you can say.
Yeah,
And
yeah. A matter of
I
fact,
just
a
wanted
matter,
you to,
a matter of fact,
yeah.
a matter of fact, crystals are used in high Wiccan and witchcraft rituals.
Okay.
And
So
see,
I was asking that because I have crystals in my home,
No.
but it's not like I don't use it for that.
Yeah,
Like
but-
I have.
but this is what I'm
like,
saying. This is what I'm
crystal
saying.
ball.
What I'm saying is these are inanimate objects, right? So that in of itself, right? Crystals aren't anything outside of being crystals unless you're dealing with them with some level of spiritual expectation or connection to it. That's when it becomes an idol. That's when it becomes something that you deem has power.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, because I was getting ready to throw it all out if that's what it was.
Listen,
'Cause,
what I'm saying is, we all know what crystal balls were used for.
right.
All right, and
Yes,
the whole thing of crystals and the crystal power comes from when the fallen ones fell into the earth. They was consolidated in what we call Antarctica today and built cities, crystal cities. And that power was the power of the fallen angels under Lucifer. So witches and all that would go and do this to connect to the gods. And that's the initial religion of the earth in connection with power to get insight, to get revelation, to connect to the unseen. So that's the origin of crystals. It was because the crystal city, like you see in Superman and all that, were actually the cities of the fallen gods before Adam was shaped out of the ground. They came out of the ice. They came out of the crystals. And this is why witches, sorcerers, and others hold the crystals dear, because it's their connection to the gods. I will never tell anybody what to do with what they have, but you have to understand the origin of how witches and warlocks connect to the unseen. Superman
Okay,
is
that's why I wanted to kind of understand.
Superman is Satan, and the crystal city he went to have power and all that, where the original cities the angels were in before the waters resided. Okay, so it's really a connection to the old gods. All right, so be careful with that.
Okay.
All right.
And then I had a second question, and the second question was because that the United States or this country has done a lot to other countries so much that we should have been attacked a long time ago. Is it the reason why we're not being attacked is because we are here, the children of Israel are here, that's keeping it from being attacked?
What you say?
I said this country, the United States.
Yeah. What was your
question? Done a
question?
lot to other countries.
You have done a lot to
I was
other
asking,
countries.
is it? Yeah, the reason why we haven't been bombed like some other countries, they get bombed just because. Is the reason why we haven't been attacked on that level? Is that because we are here, the children of Israel are on this land?
No, the reason why America haven't been attacked because it wasn't America's turn.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But it tell you in Revelations 18, in 1 hour. See, she got so proud that she thought she would never know the loss of children and all that. But eventually, Revelations 13, 9, and 10. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. So eventually, they call it the law of the universe. That's what they call that. But really, it's Galatians 6 and 7. Every society, every person in the earth, no matter who you are who lived in the earth, There's a reap what you sow law. The Indians, the East Indians call it karma. Nah, that's out of the window. It's reap what you sow. So according to the Bible, it hasn't happened because it wasn't America's turn. But now that America have totally began infighting and become anti-family and have divided when Christ says a nation against itself cannot stand. Now it's exposed and open for now Rome to say pull the plug on it. We're not going to protect America anymore. We're going to allow the legislation of the outward international body to determine America's future. See? And what countries are saying is, well, it was one time where American passport had clearance to go to every country because with it comes a connection to finances, wealth, and prestige. But now, based on what they're promoting to Africa and others, other countries are saying, well, no, we don't want you in our country if that's what you're pushing. See? So they're going to start closing the doors because they know that America have fallen into total degradation and immorality to where America is going to begin to fall on itself. That's where the country is now, ripe for the taking. So no, it wasn't because of the children of Israel that the Most High didn't allow it to happen yet. It's because it wasn't America's turn. The Bible teaches, he that letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. America have been given many opportunity to repent for their sins, to apologize. You know, they haven't even come out and apologized to our people and say, we know you're the children of Israel, and we apologize for the evil we have done against you. The pride of America's heart have deceived them. And only the judgment of God on this country can make the true judgment or make amends for all they are too proud to admit. So the Most High is allowing them to seethe in their pride so that the world could recognize what a country looks like that was great at one time and then eventually turned their backs on God altogether. So we're going to be delivered from here. We're going to be fine, those who are in Christ. But America will be the example of what not to be after it has fallen. Believe me. It tell you in Revelations 18 that all the nations on the outside going to behold, going to be well after seeing the smoke come off of her. And no one is going to believe that a country that was so great fell to such depths of immorality and is no longer in existence. Or at the bare minimum, a superpower. Because people are still going to be living in the country. But the country eventually, according to the Bible, will be powerless. There will be a war that will eventually lead to bombs being hit. And then what's going to happen, because all your nuclear plants here in America are on a fault line, is going to be a domino effect that will lead to all of your nuclear plants melting down. And then there will be an earthquake which will break America into 3 separate parts. It will be divided. It will be divided and controlled by 3 separate countries who have already purchased those particular areas. It's going to be China, Great Britain, and the West Coast will be owned by Russia. All of this and more you'll be hearing in classes to come. A lot of what I'm saying, listen, sister, I was teaching this on the street. Everything I just said right now, I was teaching on the street in 2008, 2009, right there on the corner of 8th and Market, 9th and Market. Everything I'm saying. And guess what? Now, the same countries I said who own those 3 parts are now here. We're hearing about a Russian invasion. China is here now to claim the parts of America that belongs to them. Okay? And Great Britain will have the rest, which is the East Coast. It's already have taken place. So here we are. But they're piecing it up now. But the real piecing is going to happen when there's no more bridges and the earthquake comes that's going to split America into 3 parts. That's what's coming. But guess what?
That would be after the Exodus, right?
Of course. Of course. Of course. All right. My brother. I mean, my
Sir.
sister.
Yes,
All right. I
sir.
appreciate
Thank you.
Great questions.
All right, the water.
Are you in the bar?
That's it.
Oh, yeah. That will be after. Hey, hopefully we'll be in the wilderness flipping pancakes at that time. 323 area code that I'll bring in. I can't go a day without my sunshine. Yeah, bring sunshine in. All right, we have Mika has a question.
Okay. Hello?
Yeah, Mika.
Shalom.
Yeah, you sound far away. Are you in the car speaker? What you have there?
Yeah, just let me know if you can hear.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, you can go ahead. You can shoot. I'm listening to you.
Okay, well, the question I have is, did you hear about the co-founder and the owner of Cash App that was stabbed to death? And if you heard about it, what's your stance on that?
The owner of Cash App.
He was stabbed to death.
Oh,
I think last night, I think.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know, but you know how it is when you get something good. You know, they make you an offer you can't refuse. Hold on. You get down to lay down. Okay,
Yep.
The founder killed. And yeah, I don't know. I'll look into it, but I don't think it's a coincidence this has happened right after they went into the digital dollar. Now that's interesting. Because who knows? Maybe some of these transaction apps and others aren't playing ball into allowing it to transition into the World Bank control. Like I said, usually when they come to you, they're giving you an offer, but it's not really an offer. Like when they went to Barry Gordy and say, we would like to buy Motown for about this millions of dollars. That really wasn't an offer. Okay? Because Barry Gordy would have never sold Motown. You right? When they came and Mac and all that wanted to buy Beat by Dre's. Like, yo, yeah, we want to purchase Beat by Dre's. Here's a few million. So you got to know how it works. When you have something that's needed by the industry, they're going to make you an offer you can't refuse. Now, they're going to get it anyway. But whether or not you live to see the spoils of your work is another thing. Right? So, yeah, so that's the way it works. So, I don't know what happened, but obviously, who knows? Who knows? He probably tried to stand pat with his particular business and, and didn't want to play ball. Probably. I don't know. Whatever. But, hey, I hope he was right with the Most High. That's the key thing. Because
I know a lot of Israelites were doing, transactions, sending money back and forth.
Yeah. It's Apple. It was Apple. I keep on saying Mac. That's showing my age. It's showing Apple now owns Beat by Dre's. But when the industry say they want something, it's all one big cabal. And eventually, they make you an offer. And they'll tell you, listen, it's an offer. So when they come to you, if you're part of the industry, and you get something good, like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson he would have owned half of Sony, 50% of Sony, if he would have lived throughout the year they quote unquote killed him. So that's the way it is. So I don't know. I just seen that and I don't know what it means, but I will be looking into it, sister. That's deep.
All right. I have two more brief questions, okay? It's very brief. The second one is, if the water's going to be poisoned, where will we get clean water from?
Sister, that is a good idea. That was a good thing, and I'm going to be talking about that Amoth. Bishop Amoth showed me a machine today that you can purchase for about $2,000. And what this thing does is you sit it outside, it filters your water and give you clean water that you can administer directly through a machine. And it pulls water out of the air. All right. Now the other thing is there's tablets that you can purchase in an emergency to clean any type of water and shake it up that the militaries use. So when it comes to the survival instincts, when it comes to water and all these things, follow us closely. We'll be talking about this as we come closer to the end with almost no water, where it says 2/3 of the waters will be made bitter. Wormwood. Another thing you can do is you can go to Amazon and buy yourself water filters. Okay. There's water filters that go in your shower as well as your faucet that will take out all of the bad agents so you can have a clean water to drink, shower, and cook with. So there's many options out there for you. The cheapest way initially is to go to Amazon and get those filters that you can change every few months to go in your faucet as well as your showers. Okay?
Okay, and last question. If you don't have any fruits or vegetables grown, where can you find fruits and vegetables that have seeds in them?
Well, I own heirloom seeds, fruits and vegetables and all that others. All right. You can go to supermarkets and you can still get fruit and vegetables with seeds in them. You can dry them out like anything else and plant those.
Oh, not in California because everything in California is seedless. I was thinking like maybe a farmer's market.
Oh no. What you need to do is go to Google and Google organic foods in California. There are some places you can go for organic foods.
Well, I bought an organic apple last week, and that apple didn't have not one seed in it, and it was an organic apple.
No, that was an apple from hell. That wasn't an organic apple. But what I can do is I can speak to Luke. You're in the congregation of California?
Yes, I am.
Okay, well, I'm going to look into a few places you can go give it to Luke. He'll give it to you, and you can find some apples with seeds in it, believe me.
And watermelons, please. I need watermelons with seeds.
Hey, listen, I'm a jack of all trades. I'm going to look find you some water. A matter of fact, what I did was I took a watermelon out a few years ago, and I just took all the seeds and dried them, and I put it in the garage. So I got some watermelon seeds that you can actually put in. I'll send them to you. You throw them in the ground and put water in. You want to do that?
Okay.
All right, I'm going to write down your number.
Yes.
There it is. Hold on. Let's see. Mika. Watermelon seeds.
Yes. And I'm also the lady that needs prayer for my daughter as well.
I know. I didn't forget you. All right. Okay. All right, Mika.
Okay. All right. Shalom.
Shalom. I'm sure I hear you this Friday on Patreon. You're one of those people who continually support the church. I really appreciate you, sister. And I'm going to be there to help pray and get your daughter out of what she's dealing with, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shalom.
All right. Last but not least, brought back by popular demand, Sunshine.
Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
Hi. Hi, Elder.
Let's go. I got to get up early in the morning. I got a lot of work to do. I'm dealing with a bunch of things, young lady. Come on, talk to me. I just listen. I just drove in after driving 1 hour and a half back over into the sticks, an hour and a half back, and then I went straight and set up to be on the program this evening. So I was in the sticks somewhere where you gotta put your phone up for reception. So I am tired. I got to get up in the morning. I'm tired. Come on. Run off your copious notes. Come on.
Okay.
I'm tired.
Okay. Oh, elders, how they won't leave us alone. What a diabolical plan on every side, creating Pikean disillusionment, nihilism, and a cane city of unbelievers, so that with all the confusion that's going on in the world through the mad apparatus or the media, all the things thrown at us, the saints, in attempt to wear out the saints, though they won't, they'll actually just keep the strongholds locked onto those who do not have the truth. Then the masses, these same masses, have no place to turn. They're running to and fro in every which way. And they who are shaky and built their houses on and hopes on sinking sand are now moved and shaken into whatever way the media wind blows, wherever the political alliances say to go. And all who waver can now easily join with the conspiring plan, one after the other, against the children of Israel. It's a whole world, a war against us, creating laws and divisions against us, monitoring our every move, our choices in every sector, telling us how we should run or govern ourselves, no matter, and they're not doing this to anyone else. So it is no doubt that with our people perpetually under a microscope and the focus of every lens on us, that we are indeed the children of Israel, no matter who froth at the mouth against it. And now as Babylon shifts downwards and we're seeing the so-called experts and shifters and dissemblers and vultures of nations with some of our Judases coming out from behind their rocks and crevices and veils in plain sight, no holds barred, threatening funding and linking freedom to a double mind and New Age hive mind in the U.S., Africa, and elsewhere, yet the same man of sin is being revealed, whether those that curse us and trespass against us realize the backfire of their plans against us or not. And in fact, with what they do in their focus on us here and abroad, worldwide, and their continual assaults against us, any eye that can see in humility of the Gentiles can honestly admit that surely their fathers have inherited lies. And while the Israelites who can see know that our kingdom is at hand, for we are the sons of the living God, and the desperation to make links to us and anti-Semitism or links to us and unlawfulness and lies and violence and their fakeness and much ado about absolutely nothing that we're doing to them reminds that those in Christ that are going, we're going to be troubled continually by them no matter what, even though like the African president said, we just want to be left alone to find out for ourselves. But they also show that they're plumb out of ideas. They're grasping at straws. They're witless and unable to stop the inevitable truth and prophecies of the word. And they do lie, and they're continually pretending in good intentions to protect the trust of the public against us, the new labeled world terrorists, but the sinister nature of what is presented as a way forward is clearly known by the things that they do against us. But for the righteous, what we know to be true of the invisible are seen by the things that are made, male and female, the clean, the laws, the Sabbath, everything over the pagan traditions. For by grace, we know that what we worship is truth, and the wicked in their aberrant and vain worships to the fallen gods under Satan, unrepentant and proud, will fall. And Israel, Quam Yashara.
There it is.
We don't envy the wicked.
There it is.
Our kingdom is here soon.
Bless you, bless you. And you know what? She wrote all that down, folks. Very articulate, on point, and a great listener too. Praise the Most High. One day we're going to bring her into Zoom. We're going to figure out what's going on over there. We're going to see what's going on with Sunshine. But we put a face, put a face with the jovial spirit. One of the days we're going to have her on. Let me put it here. One day we're going to have her on Zoom so we can see exactly her, have her husband come on and just introduce you all to Sunshine. But without further ado, that's the end of our night. Thank you, Elder Lawya, for assisting us. Thank you, Elder Dell, Elder Rawchaa, all you are working in the background, because we know the trolls may be coming out. And thank you, Elder Ramar, for assisting on the blog talk. With that, we're going to say shalom. May the Most High stay with you. And we'll leave you with the song.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Thank you, Elder Lawya. We're going to leave you with the song from Music with a Purpose 1. And next week we will be releasing Bye Bye. It will premiere on this channel, the video. With that, even though the earth have gone to Hades, we need to what? Experience one amongst another, continual care, as well as continual care, love, and respect for our fellow neighbor. Okay? Let's not be pulled into hell with those who have turned their backs on the Most High. And let's continue in this truth. I thank the Most High for it. This is His word, His Son. We need to continue in brotherly love. May the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up. We will soon see Zion. Shalom. Brotherly love.
So much pain, life took us separate ways. Both did some hurtful things, but it's not over. You know that we both care. So can we forgive and forget? I need you here. Remember the ups and downs, the trials.
Good night, brothers and sisters.
See, there is no one on this earth who can replace you, my brother. Life is too short, don't hold no grudges. No grudges. You are my blood. We must forgive and love each other. No matter what life throws at us, we must keep brotherly love. Searched high and low, where did you go? Pick up your phone. Oh brother, do you hear me calling? See, I apologize. Hey, this bond will never die. Remember the ups and downs and trials we've been through. So I'll keep on, darling. I like golden eyes. We still love. You know I love you. I love you, brother. Life is too short, don't hold no grudges. You know I love you, my brother. We must forgive and love. I love you, brother. No matter what life throws at us, we love. We must keep love. I love you, brother.